The story usually starts like this. Once upon a time, on a peaceful day, under the blue sky, a purple portal suddenly appeared. The Demon King brought his army to the scene, and they all had terrifying faces. Their eyes seemed to want to devour others. The sound of footsteps echoed on the ground, and a nameless hero appeared sword in hand, radiating brilliant light, stepping on the rocky outcrop. It was as if he had been standing there waiting for a long time. His eyes were sharp, like a mother catching her child playing on their phone while studying. The hero's feet moved swiftly across the ground. In the final battle, when the enormous Demon King with purple energy clashed with the small hero with golden energy, they left behind only a trail of light. The hero sacrificed himself to defeat the Demon King and save the world. The Demon King was completely defeated and fell into eternal slumber, waiting for the day he would return. These cliched stories that you often hear are so boring that they make you want to yawn. The world is at peace, and the hero becomes a legend. No one knows who the author of these stories is, but these kinds of tales keep repeating themselves. After a long time, what we see now is a brown portal. It was opened by a slender hand, and red light shone out from inside the room. The person who opened the door had curly hair blowing in the wind. "Your Majesty, something terrible has happened," they said. The person knelt before a being several times larger than themselves. The being wore armor surrounded by a red aura. "What's going on?" it asked. The person hesitated. "Demiurgos." The curly-haired person, a demon from the underworld, continued in one breath. "Demiurgos, the 666th demon, has just woken up and left the demon realm." The person shouted, spitting saliva everywhere. "He said he doesn't want to be the Demon King anymore." Being asked in surprise, "What are you talking about?" The person was frightened and stuttered. He said. The large being got angry and said, "Speak up." The person held a paper with writing on it. "I'm so tired of being the Demon King. Don't come looking for me." There was a drawing of a tongue sticking out and a signature with the number 666. The curly-haired person spoke as if crying. "He's escaped. Even as a demon, he has to say something right." As the scene changed to another location, the sound of footsteps lightly landed on the ground. The person walked and hummed a tune. When standing in front of the magnificent white Arcoma Palace, the person exclaimed, "This is the Arcoma Palace of the Kingdom of Verde, right?" With eyes closed, the person savored the breeze on their face. "This is indeed the human world I've been longing for." The person jumped up, spinning around like a top, laughing loudly. "It's so cozy here." Suddenly, the person's eyes turned sharp and red. They muttered a curse. "Damn this accursed cross!" Just as they were enjoying the human world, a voice from afar interrupted the moment. "Hey you, country bumpkin! Where do you think you're going?" Two guards appeared, one holding a weapon. "Do you know where you are? You can't just wander around like that." The person looked confused, thinking, "Are they talking to me?" The person looked down at their clothes, wondering if it was because of what they were wearing. The guards continued to question them. "How dare you stroll in front of the Arcoma Palace? Are you looking for trouble?" When the person did not respond, one of the guards pointed his weapon at them. "What are you looking at? We're talking to you. Declare your name and title." The person pointed to themselves and asked back, "Me." The person knew they couldn't reveal their true identity as Demiurgos, the 666th demon. After some thought, they snapped their fingers. "That's it, I just need to change a few characters." With a friendly smile, the person put their hands in their pockets and greeted. "Hello, humans." They introduced themselves confidently, "I am Deus." Just as they finished introducing themselves, someone stepped forward, stamping their foot. "How dare you take the name of an ancient god as your own? Don't you know this is the capital of the Kingdom of Verde?" The guards saw the person who stepped forward and bowed respectfully. "Count Bru." The count didn't care about them and spoke directly to Deus. "If you didn't know, that's fine. We'll let it slide this time. But now get out." Deus still smiled and asked, "Is the Kingdom of Verde strong?" Count Bru became irritated. What did you say? Deus's eyes still smiled, ignoring Bru's irritation. Is it strong enough for me to become king? This question hit Bru's sore spot. He drew his sword ready to kill Deus. How dare you mock the royal Ikiao? Family, you'll pay with your life. Deus drew his sword ready to fight. His eyes had changed. After a single glance, Count Bru exploded to the surprise of the guards. One of the guards stuttered, "Count Bru." Before he could understand what happened, his face distorted. Deus smiled friendly amidst the bloody scene and exploding heads. The scene was chaotic, with people shouting and asking each other what happened. Deus whistled and hummed. As he sang, Deus drew a purple line in the air. The remaining guards exploded like the ones before without warning. On the palace, the distant guards saw the scene and raised their bows. The arrows flying towards Deus turned into purple flowers. Deus calmly received the arrows. He just looked up at the two archers and they also exploded. The soldiers who were just blown up by him immediately stood up their feet, pointing towards the sky, and blood flowed down from their heads, welcoming the new king. Their blood was splattered all along the road to the prayer gate. With every step I took, it was as if your blood blessed this body and your tears. Inside the palace, the soldiers were marching loudly, all preparing to fight the enemy that was approaching. Had the war already begun? Had everyone outside died? Everyone was tense, gripping their weapons tightly and sweating. They were defending the palace gate, but when Deus arrived, the gate collapsed. He was extremely dangerous now, using a scream instead of a bugle call. The soldiers were terrified by this enormous power and couldn't even gasp. With just one burst of purple energy, Deus sent the whole group to their deaths. Screams echoed through the air, and the scene was chaotic. Some people cried for help, others were frightened and called out for their mothers. Some were so distraught that they screamed, "Kill me." The soldiers were surrounded by purple energy. Deus was still smiling cheerfully, as if the scene before him was extremely beautiful. His smile was like that of a child, shy and frightening to behold. The music was beautiful, but then the string snapped. When I heard the sound, it was like reading a holy scripture. The Almighty, the Creator, the virtuous Our Father. A figure amidst the chaos still invoked the name of the Almighty, the one who begins and ends. He wore armor, knelt on one knee, and held his sword firmly, guiding us through the darkness with the light of truth, blessing us with victory, pushing back death, and making truth prevail. As he drew his sword, he prayed, "Please defeat the devil before me, and grant me strength." When the sword left its sheath, it shone brightly like gold. Deus looked at him without fear, evaluating him. Your aura, aren't you the legendary Blood Knight?" The youth, shining like gold, responded calmly. "I don't know who you are, but it's hard to believe you're using dark magic when you can just barge into our Coma Palace like that." "Prepare yourself." He was very confident. "You can't defeat me. I've been blessed by the gods." He jumped up. "I may not have pure blood, but I can still defeat you." As soon as he landed the ground and rocks exploded in all directions, his eyes seemed to breathe a sigh of relief until he heard a familiar voice. "What's going on?" He raised his empty hand to block the sword, while the other hand was still gathering purple energy. "Now it's my turn, isn't it?" He mimicked the knight's words. "Our Father in heaven, Holy Spirit." "Please take this idiot back to you," the young man said, not understanding what was happening. Deus smiled dangerously. "I also know how to pray. Let's see whose prayer the gods will answer, yours or mine." Before he could understand the situation, the young man was already having his heart ripped out, and it was now in Deus's hand, still beating. "Don't ever mention those gods in front of me again." The youth stared at Deus in shock, unable to believe what was happening. Deus crushed the youth's heart and replied, "And yet they're real." After passing through this layer of defense, he advanced deeper. Inside, there was another group of soldiers, some of whom were still holding shields. He asked, "Have you been waiting for me long?" The soldiers panicked. "He's in." "Why is it just this one person? We're the last line of defense. We must protect him with our lives." The old king seated above spoke in a deep voice. "Who are you?" Deus walked into the hall as if he owned the place. "You seem to be the king, don't you?" Let's have a little chat. One of them raised their weapon. How dare you be disrespectful to the king? It was another familiar snap of the fingers. The soldiers exploded again, and screams echoed through the air. Deus smiled again, his familiar smile. Is there anyone else who wants to say something? The remaining soldiers still protected the king, cursing. Damn it! Seeing that there were still people who wanted to be beaten, Deus jumped up, praising them. He revealed his red demonic wings to everyone. Then he flew like a bird back to its nest, passing by the soldiers heading towards the throne above. Deus flew to the king's side, smiling. Let's chat a bit, okay? The king was frightened by his power. What do you want? Money, fame, power. I'll give you everything. Just stop. Deus smiled again. No. He was full of confidence as he said, I want this kingdom. The king, still not fearful, shouted, Impossible! Deus didn't care, scratching his ear nonchalantly. Seriously, you think I want something I can't have? You're going to die. When you're dead, I'll take over the royal family and this kingdom will be mine. The king stuttered. My family. The king shouted as if a nerve had been touched. I knew it. You damn guy, you want my daughter, don't you? Deus scratched his head as if listening to nonsense. Daughter, I don't even know if you have a daughter. The king was taken aback. Not my daughter. April is the pride of the horse and silk land, and the flower of our royal family. Deus didn't care, saying directly, No, I don't need her. What I need is the royal family. The king's speech was a bit unclean, shouting, Why do you always want something that doesn't belong to you? Deus's eyes were now fixed on the king, ready to kill. What you think everything is yours? The king still asserted without fear. Of course, the kingdom belongs to the royal family. His red eyes asked again, who said that? Then there was a questioning. This world was just created. Is it yours? You also took something that didn't belong to you. Didn't you, royal family? You enjoyed the throne for decades, and now you're going to hand it over to me to take the king's place, still just shouting no? He asked him, Do you think the Holy Land Sanctus Maximus Populi will recognize you? He smiled like a father giving birth to a baby. The Holy Land Sanctus Maximus Populi. Who cares, huh, you idiot? After this sentence, the palace was surrounded by red flames. It exploded, causing the cross to collapse, and the magnificent castle was shattered. The heat turned everything around into charcoal, and you were left with nothing but a corpse. Seeing something, Deus stopped. He exclaimed, It seems you don't have any blood vessels, do you? The young knight, now burned by fire, still spoke as if there were people around him. If you had one, you could have prolonged it for a few more seconds. How boring. He took a step forward, looked up at the sky, and said in a challenging tone, Hey gods, I'm bored. You're not prepared at all. There was no response to him in this scene. The light shone through the palace windows, still the same. He thought, I guess I'll just wander around before my pure-blooded bloodline awakens. He put his hand in his pocket, calculating, there are still 20. Usually the day I decline is around that time. A deafening scream attracted Deus's attention, and he curiously turned around to look. Among the still-burning ruins, a girl suddenly appeared. She had snow-white skin and wore a white dress with intricate lace patterns. Very delicate. Her hair was neatly styled with a blue ribbon pinned on top, elegant. The girl stood there completely contrasting with the chaotic scene around her. The girl cried and looked at Deus, asking, Who are you? Who are you? Tears fell profusely, wetting her cheeks. Deus was a bit surprised and perhaps a bit curious. He slowly repeated, Who? The scene changed. The sunlight shone down on the remains of a fierce battle. Below were piles of corpses, some still with their eyes open, having died without closing their eyes. The demons who lost the first battle were banished to the demon world, along with the damaged soul of the demon king. The top demons followed, one after another, escorting the chained soul, or rather a temporary container. Even though it was just a damaged soul, the evil aura surrounding it was still terrifying. The purpose was to protect the soul and put it into a new body. The group of demons brought the soul going deeper and deeper into the demon world. They poured all kinds of magic and curses into it for 100 years. Then they revived him once again. A new demon king began a new era, ruling over all demons. Then the second war broke out. We thought there were no more heroes left, so we would dominate the land. The new Demon King was very confident. But life doesn't give anyone everything. There was still another hero who appeared fighting tirelessly, not giving up even when pierced by arrows. He held his sword and axe tightly staring at the new Demon King. His eyes burned like flames as if ready to incinerate the enemy. That will was too strong, so our army lost again. The era of the Demon King ended once more with a pile of messy corpses. Once again, the demons revived a new Demon King in 100 years, using the same method nurturing the soul with magic and curses. And not surprisingly, the thick-skinned Demon King was revived, and another hero appeared in the light of justice. And not surprisingly, the thick-skinned Demon King was revived, and another hero appeared in the light of justice. The demons worked tirelessly, spending another 100 years reviving the Demon King. The new Demon King appeared again. The demons worked tirelessly, spending another 100 years reviving the Demon King. The new Demon King appeared again. This was like an endless loop with no end in sight. Neither side would give up. This had repeated 60 times. The impressive and enduring number was 6585. This was also why the story of the hero saving the world became a given. They even wrote plays about how the heroes fought bravely to defeat the Demon King. When everyone thought the hero would appear again when the time came, the demons deep below thought this would be the final new Demon King. They still didn't stop using magic and curses to revive the new Demon King, the final one. The new body of the new Demon King was nurtured in a magical stone placed on a high pedestal, and the new Demon King was, of course, Deus. A group of demons below looked up, cheering fanatically for their new king. Come to this world and lead us. They gathered all their strength and revived the 666th Demon King. The new Demon King was still sleeping, looking completely harmless. His name was Demiurgos, the 66th Demon King. Deus suddenly opened his eyes. His sharp and cold gaze contained the breath of hell. And so the one who brought despair to all humanity on earth opened his eyes. That day, he slipped away. Yes, that's right, everyone. The new Demon Lord slipped away and was even polite enough to leave a note with the message, "I won't do these stupid Demon Lord things anymore. Don't look for me, you fools. Goodbye." It was signed Demon Lord number 666, and next to it was a drawing of a tongue sticking out, looking somewhat provocative. The new Demon Lord 666 wrote the note in a hurry, then just left, leaving the other demons to despair and scream in desperation. Let's go back to the initial scene. We saw the girl looking at Deus standing in the middle of the ruins, angrily asking, "What have you done with my father?" The evil sorcerer. Deus put his hands in his pockets and didn't answer. He looked at her with an expression like he was looking at a lunatic. "What's wrong with her?" Deus recalled the scene of the king, who was still sniffling and shouting. "Don't touch my daughter. April is the pride of the Horsens continent, and the flower of the royal family. Thinking about it now, he knew who she was." Deus looked at the girl and asked, "So you're Princess April?" His eyes emitted an unusual red glow. "The king is dead, so now it's time to take his daughter and ascend to the throne. What a great opportunity with the fat right in front of me. I have to get to work." The princess was shocked and looked at Deus in disbelief. "What did you just say?" He didn't bother to say anything else, just raised his right hand and snapped his fingers. April suddenly froze, opened her eyes blankly, and stared ahead. She slowly lowered her body, supporting herself with her hands on the ground. Her body knelt down in front of Deus, and she said, "This lowly body belongs entirely to you, Master. Please take me with you." The image now was a stark contrast to the girl who was still crying moments before. She had been controlled by Deus. He jumped up high and floated towards April, who was still kneeling. He slowly landed, reached out to lift her chin and looked into her blank face with his fiery red eyes, saying with delight, "From now on, you're my first human, April." April mechanically responded, "Thank you, Master." Deus leaned in closer, their faces almost touching. The image was so intimate that it made the onlooker blush as if they were about to kiss. But Deus stopped. He glanced sideways and said coldly, "Stop peeking and get out before I gouge your eyes. Out!" A small, watery crevice appeared in the air, looking like an eye. A voice came from it. "Just as I thought, my lord." Deus looked towards it. The Princess April was still staring blankly at him, her eyes welling up with tears. Behind the watery crevice was a man. The crevice gradually widened and the man stepped out like a pop star. He was wearing a fedora hat and a suit with long hair blowing in the wind. The man lowered his hat and coughed, revealing his entire face with purple eyes and platinum hair, which was quite enchanting. "Let me introduce myself. I am Alex, your loyal servant. It's an honor, my lord." Deus still looked lazy, standing with his hands in his pockets, and looked at the man. "You've been watching me all this time, haven't you?" The man bowed his head, looking pitiful. "You make me sad, my lord. Wherever you go, I'm always by your side, my lord." Deus sneered and gave him a disdainful look. "Nonsense. You're the former demon lord, aren't you?" The man didn't think so. "Your body is the legacy of your ancestors. Now you're my lord." Deus waved his hand, signaling him to leave. "You can go play somewhere else. I'm not going back to the demon realm." Surprisingly, the man agreed easily. "Very well, my lord." This caught Deus off guard. The man smiled and said, "I'll only follow your orders, my lord. Don't worry about me. Please continue what you're doing." Deus suddenly remembered. Oh, what was I doing just now? The sudden appearance of this guy made Deus forget his original intention. The man pointed to the princess, who was still kneeling with her head tilted back, looking like a living statue. "Weren't you about to grant that woman your great seed, my lord?" He proudly said, Alex have never left your side for 30 years. The spirit of the demon," as he, and a glass of red wine appeared in his hand, which he swirled around. Alex looked up at the sky, his eyes welling up with tears, and said sadly, "I wonder if you'll listen to the story of my sacrifices for you, which could fill a glass of red wine." But Alex continued his story. "Throughout your childhood, I fed you milk after transforming my own body." Yes, he was describing how he used to breastfeed Deus, which made Deus exclaim, "That's disgusting." Alex didn't stop there, continuing to praise himself. "I became a perfect teacher through my dedicated education." Deus still remembered how Alex used to beat him almost to death. Is there any teacher who ties up their student with rope and whips them with a leather strap? "I was the only demon who saw you off with compassion until you entered the awakening egg." Who was it that ordered those demons to tie you up like a mental patient and throw you in? Alex's meat is like an old man recalling his own growth process. It feels like just yesterday he was still wriggling his tiny hands and feet. I couldn't believe he's grown up so much and started to notice women. I'm easily moved. You wouldn't know, sir. These words made Deus furious. He hated not being able to fly over and kill Alex immediately to shut him up. Deus narrowed his eyes and looked at him. "Enough nonsense, let me tell you clearly. I won't do those devilish tricks, and from today on, I've been reborn as a normal human being." Alex smiled kindly and looked at him. "Very well, my lord, as you wish." Deus didn't understand what this crazy guy was going to do next. They looked at Alex with something in their eyes, their faces red with danger. Alex decided to pretend to be oblivious, still maintaining a friendly smile, pretending not to understand what he meant. At this point, Deus didn't bother to pretend to be dangerous anymore. He angrily shouted at the other person's face, raising his hand to summon dark magic. "What are you plotting? Tell me, why are you leaving me alone? Speak up." Alex was distorted by Deus's power, but he still smiled. "I apologize, my lord. I will speak." The two demons turned back to talk seriously and normally. Alex asked, "My lord, is there a specific reason you chose to attack this country?" Deus asked back. "What's the reason?" "Yes, like that arrogant guy invading your territory, or coveting the wealth of the demon world, or at least making you unhappy. Something like that." Alex stared at Deus, expecting a reasonable answer. Deus propped up his chin, thinking, "Well, I don't really have one. I just thought I should live like a king if I've chosen to be human." Great Alex stood aside, clapping, making Deus puzzled. Alex clapped and smiled in appreciation. It's fitting for a demon lord, isn't it? As soon as you arrived on Earth, you defeated the largest kingdom single-handedly, taking on the entire human army. Alex killed the king and took the princess. That's truly a great and mighty achievement. Alex is ruthless, Deus praised. That's truly brutal. What could be more fitting for a demon lord? Deus continued, still not understanding. He stood aside, listening to Alex's praise with a forced smile. Even a normal person, or a high-ranking demon like him, couldn't imagine such a thing. Truly a born demon lord, Deus wondered. Is this what it's like? Alex continued. For a great lord like you to say that you'll abandon us and not be the demon lord. I'll take your son to the demon world and raise him as another demon lord. As soon as Alex said that, Deus was shocked to his soul, Alex added, and on that day, 20 years later, Alex's voice echoed in the air. Your son will become the 666th Demiurgos, and I'll make him descend to this world. A maniacal laughter echoed like a demon roaring, extremely harsh on the ears. Deus was sweating silently, looking at the image of the new demon lord, powerful and ruling the underworld as drawn by Alex. He looked down at the princess still kneeling at his feet. Wow, so beautiful, pure and innocent. Deus continued, lost in thought, looking back and forth between Alex and April. Then Deus burst out laughing, relieved. Oh my God, I almost became a father at the age of 80. I'm still young and playful. Alex was stunned, unable to respond. My lord. Suddenly, Deus's expression changed, his eyes becoming sharp and full of killing intent. This caught Alex off guard, unable to understand what was happening. Deus roared and simultaneously unleashed a destructive attack towards Alex, forcing him to duck and defend. This attack from Deus pierced through the top of the castle, flew out, and crashed through several mountains, creating a massive explosion. Alex held tight to his hat, looking towards the explosion, silently sweating. The scene was now extremely chaotic, with fires burning and illuminating the mountains. Releasing this anger made Deus extremely satisfied. So you guys want to deceive me, huh? You damn guys. He was panting, his mouth emitting smoke. Alex stood behind, forced to lower his head and remain silent. At this moment, Alex looked like a snake, narrowing his eyes and concluding, he's too different. Looking at the monkey jumping around, panting and breathing fire, Alex had to admit that Deus's demon energy was still incomplete, yet he was already this strong. The 666th Demon Lord would definitely be different from the previous ones. Maybe, just maybe this time, we'll truly win. We finally did it. Alex's face was filled with ambition as he thought about the future. Suddenly, Deus's voice echoed. He said the king is too flashy. Just do it. Alex was overjoyed, thinking, do what? But the next sentence from Deus made him stunned. Protect justice, be a hero. Alex was dumbfounded. Be a hero. Deus was excited, his face red. The companion of a hero, yes. Deus wanted to escape his role and be a hero. This intention made Alex standing behind, stunned and unable to understand. Deus couldn't help but imagine his future path. He would collude with the hero, and from there he would be noticed, but he would remain one step behind the hero so he wouldn't be exposed. A vague position that no one would suspect would be the Demon Lord, the companion of the hero. With the stupid hero in front of him, he would enjoy the sweet journey behind his back. It was a perfect plan. He couldn't help but laugh and say, you work hard, and I enjoy the glory. Alex knelt down, clasped Deus's feet, and begged, please reconsider, my lord. Without the Demon Lord, there wouldn't be a hero. How can you become his companion? Upon hearing this, Deus decided to set out to find the hero. Then let's go find that hero, Deus said as he took to the skies. Alex couldn't help but call out my lord as he watched Deus fly away. Deus just threw back. I don't know, figure it out yourself. Isn't she the heroine as Deus disappeared into the distance? Alex's voice still echoed. My lord. The scene was encapsulated in a crystal ball held by someone who commented, thanks for appearing at the right time. A beautiful woman's face appeared saying, thanks for appearing at the right time. A pair of orange dragon eyes opened staring behind the woman. She sat down crossing her legs and lazily said, "Sorry, but I need to borrow your strength for a moment. He'll forgive us eventually. After all, everything exists for the sake of the greater good." A voice sang out, "O hero, our trust is in you." Deus was lying in a carriage singing a tune with lyrics that seemed to mock the hero. Foolish hero pushing him forward, letting him do the hard work and enjoying the glory. "O hero, our trust is in you." "You shouldn't have fought the demon lord," someone said. "The demon lord is no more," Deus replied. A voice interrupted Deus's singing, calling out to him. Alex asked curiously, "Why are we riding a carriage when we can fly, sir?" Deus irritably replied, "Don't be stupid! Do you want the whole world to know you're a demon?" Alex pointed to the ruined castle behind them, and Deus quickly changed the subject. "Is that castle on fire?" Alex turned serious and asked, "Do you plan on becoming a hero or a hero's companion?" Deus pointed to the sky and said, "I just want to live the life of someone in the top 2% of the world. You know, the life of the rich by going to the front lines and killing monsters." Alex coldly stated, "Even if you become a hero's companion, it'll be hard to be in the top 2%. Deus explained, "The former demon lord and one of the 7 strongest demons are here. What's there to worry about? A hero can kill a dragon like it's nothing, if we help him a bit." Alex was surprised. "I thought you wanted to be human. Are you going to use magic?" Deus got annoyed. "Why wouldn't I use what I have? That's why you lost 665 times. 665. You mean the heroes have a ranking system, right?" Alex nodded. "Yes, they do." Deus was surprised. A ranking system like A, B, etc. Alex explained. "Something like that, yes." Alex began to explain the ranks, starting with D-rank Dragon Slayer. Deus repeated Dragon Slayer. Deus lazily asked, "Is it like a title you get after killing a dragon?" Alex clarified. "No, it means they have the strength to kill a dragon. Currently, dragons are neutral. They only attack villages in stories." The next rank was G-rank Giant Slayer, for those who could fight against giants. Deus asked G-rank, "What's next?" L-rank Lich Slayer. Alex continued. Deus lost patience. "Are there many more?" Alex continued explaining. "It follows the alphabet, sir." Deus sighed. "They just named them randomly." Alex replied, "I don't know. The Hero Management Office decides." The lowest rank was F rank, considered defective products like rotten fruit that nobody wants. Deus sarcastically commented, "Defective products, how sad." Alex warned, "You could get help from higher-ranking nobles or gain status in the country. Those who lose 7 times not only don't get sponsorship, but are also considered rotten fruit, like a rotting apple on the ground, infested with maggots. Nobody wants them." Alex continued. Deus sighed. "The human world is quite cruel, isn't it?" Alex turned serious. "There's something more important than hero rank bloodline." Deus's expression was unreadable as he listened to Alex. Alex continued. "The first ones to save the world 60,000 years ago were the hero and the saint. Their children and their children's children continued their lineage," Alex explained. Alex continued to talk incessantly, like an encyclopedia. "Their bloodline is measured by the amount of blood they have left in their family. The purer the blood, the stronger the aura they can use. The one with the purest bloodline will become a hero. Fight against the generals and win 665 times. The bloodline is like branching roots. I don't know why, but in the end it illustrates the face of Deus." Deus listened, feeling puzzled. "So does it mean that the purity of one's blood is used as a measure? Then whoever has the purer blood will have a higher rank." Alex hesitated slightly. "There are some exceptions, but generally the purer the blood, the stronger one is." "What does it have to do with pure or impure blood?" "It sounds like the phrase being born with a silver spoon. I was stuck in an egg for 80 years because of that war." Deus explained the phrase Ngam Thia Mao is used because in Han people born into wealthy families are called Ngam Thia Vang or Thia Kim Kung, while those born into poor families are called Ngam Thia Dat. Alex added coldly with a tone of exclusion, Everyone values that very much, putting their lives and pride above all else. Deus got more and more agitated on the carriage like a fish out of water. Whatever, it doesn't matter. For Deus, in the end, the hero and the demon lord would fight each other. Everyone has been fighting for 60,000 years just because of that one statement. In the vast sky, Alex's figure appeared, because it was a promise. Deus remained as he was, lying comfortably and humming on the carriage. He didn't understand why they couldn't live a normal life like this carriage, slow and comfortable. He looked up and his half-closed eyes suddenly opened wide. He quickly sat up and pointed to something white in the air. "Alex, what is that? There's something fluffy flying around." Alex's hawk-like eyes glanced down at Deus, who was playing with that thing. Just as that thing was about to touch Deus's black nail, Alex slowly replied, "It's a butterfly." He was surprised, opening his eyes wide, and repeated, "A butterfly, really?" Just as the butterfly flew and touched his hand, the wind blew stronger, tilting the flowers and grass. It also blew Deus away, as if it wanted to take his temperament with it. After the gust of wind, the butterfly flew higher. Deus quickly reached out his hand to catch it. Deus, like a child, turned his back and pouted, asking Alex, "What is that thing?" "The thing that just blew past and messed up my hair," Alex replied briefly. "It's the wind." Deus muttered, repeating wind, then raised his neck to look up. "Then what is that thing up there, the thing flying above us just now?" He raised his hand, and the sunlight shone through the gaps between his fingers. His hand covered half of Deus's face, but he still wondered. "The round thing that makes my eyes hurt when I look straight at it." Alex also looked up and replied, "It's the sun." Deus took a deep breath and asked curiously, "What is this sweet fragrance? It makes my heart flutter." Driving on the field didn't slow down Alex's response. "It's the scent of spring." Deus repeated the scent of spring. After smelling the fragrance, he asked Alex again, "You've lived a long time, haven't you?" Alex, with a handsome and patient face, replied, "Yes, I was born after the First War. Because the seven dukes and I were all born in the demon realm." Deus's tone changed suddenly. "So you've come here every 100 years since the First War, right?" He crossed his arms and leaned against the carriage, looking up at the sky. "This place is called the ground, right? It must be wonderful." Alex was puzzled and turned his head back. It turned out that Deus was just sighing, probably because he had never experienced such things as a former demon lord. Beside the road they were passing, there was a peaceful lake reflecting the sky. Deus's even tone echoed, "If everything goes as planned, I will be stuck for over 2 centuries before I can set foot on the ground. My fate is to die at the hands of a hero I have never met." Then he exhaled, saying with a tone of pride, "Luckily, I ran away." The sunlight shone on Deus's face as he leaned against the carriage. Being a demon lord is a job that should be abolished. Don't you agree? Alex didn't say anything, just gave him an evaluating glance. Not getting a response, Deus lay down on the carriage and said, "Whatever, I'm going to sleep." Lying on the hay under the carriage, Deus's laziness increased. "Just like us, every morning we have to wake up and go to work or school. When it's time, just call me. I said that just in case. But if you take me back to the demon realm, both of us will die." Another evaluating glance came from Alex. He still drove the carriage with his hand, saying respectfully, "Yes, my lord." The carriage wheels stopped turning. Alex turned around. "My lord, we're here." Deus sat up after a drowsy sleep. Already. In front of the two people was a beautiful countryside. Alex introduced, "This is the place you described. It's a small trading post not within the military zone, a peaceful village called Zorix." Deus yawned. "Zorix is not bad." The sound of horses and the rustling of wheels on the road passing through the village where people were exchanging goods. Deus asked Alex, "What about the heroes?" Alex provided information like a machine. "There are 2 families. One is A grade, close to G grade, and the other is a defective family." He looked around and evaluated. "There doesn't seem to be any D grade family around here." He looked up at a house with many flags around it. Alex made a guess. "If there was a D grade in every castle, our demon army would never dare to come to the ground." How could Deus, the demon lord, be so strong, yet Alex still showed respect and obedience? Even the demon, Lord Deus, criticized them, calling them cowards. Just as Deus was about to yawn, he heard someone say, "Have you heard the challenge? Castle was attacked by a dragon." 3 villagers were chatting with each other. The oldest man said, "I'm surprised it could do that. They haven't caught the dragon yet, so don't go near there." A young man beside him chimed in. "I heard about it too. Apparently half the castle was burned down." A girl standing there was frightened and stuttered. "Didn't the dragons go extinct a long time ago? Why are they saying the era of dragons is back? That would be terrible." Upon hearing this, Alex pointed at Deus with an extremely disapproving attitude and said, "I thought dragons were neutral." Alex didn't know what to say, so he replied, "I thought so too." Alex hesitated, drove the carriage away, and didn't bother explaining further. "The last time I was on the ground was 80 years ago, so something must have happened during that time." Behind him was the voice of the old man from earlier. "We should quickly inform St. Maximus and ask them to send us a D-ranked hero." Alex introduced Sir. "This is the best inn nearby." Deus complained about the inn. "Is this really an inn?" Alex continued. "From now on, don't call me Lord anymore." Alex didn't believe his ears. "How long are you going to keep calling me your lord?" Alex sounded disheartened. "Go ahead and book the room." The inn owner saw the guests arrive and warmly welcomed them. "Welcome to our inn." Alex removed his hat and spoke in a friendly tone. "We'll have the attic room. Our young master is very picky." Deus was evaluating the surroundings. As a money-loving but professional man, he felt uncomfortable inside. What kind of clothes are they wearing? Are they a bunch of country bumpkins? On the outside, he remained professional, rubbing his hands together. "You must be from afar, so you don't know that attic rooms are very expensive." His words were cut off when he saw the treasure taken from Arcoma Castle. It sparkled with gold, making him sweat. With the keen sense developed from years of work and his love for money, he shouted, "Quickly escort our guests to their rooms." "I'm Zeke, the holy bitch inn staff," he said, but before he could take 2 steps, he tripped and fell, face-planting on the ground. "Sorry," Alex said, speechless at the situation. The inn owner shouted angrily, "Shut up and escort our esteemed guests upstairs." The young man was flustered, put on his hat, bowed to Alex and Deus, and greeted them. With a bruised face and still bleeding nose, but smiling brightly, the young man introduced himself. "I'm Zeke Pan." "Holy bitch. Please just call me Zeke. I'll carry your luggage, so please go ahead." Despite having to carry luggage up the stairs with Alex and Deus, Zeke remained friendly. The news about the Challenge Castle was making a commotion, and it was unexpected that a legendary dragon had appeared. Sweating all over, Zeke reassured the guests. "There's no need to worry. There's a very famous A-ranked family near here," Alex said with a gentle smile. "That's good to know." Zeke opened the door to the room, revealing a spacious and clean interior, with full amenities more than the small rented room. Zeke said cheerfully, "Please come in." This is the highlight of our Golden Pavilion's attic room. Despite the weight of the trunk, Zeke's mouth didn't stop. "To be honest, this is my first time handling a such high status." "Ha ha. I don't know if it meets your preferences, but I'll do my best to serve you. If you need anything, just call me." Deus didn't care and said, "You can go." Zeke, though tired, responded cheerfully, "Yes, sir." Deus's gaze seemed to see through everything. "You have blood, don't you?" The question caught everyone present off guard, specifically Alex and Zeke. "Ah, yes," Zeke replied politely, still surprised. Deus evaluated, "No wonder you're different." Deus's smile seemed to hold something extremely dangerous, as if he was thinking of something. It turned out Deus was evaluating Zeke. "For someone with blood, your physical strength is quite weak. Since you work here, you must be from a declining heroic family in Zorix, right? Your family has nothing but impure descendants." The comment hit Zeke straight to the heart, making him stand still in the room, able to utter only one word. Deus asked, "What's the purity of your blood?" Zeke hesitated. Zeke scratched his head, his face turning red. "I'm sorry to say, but I'm F-ranked a defective product." Just as he finished speaking, flames erupted above them, causing Zeke to be thrown aside. The 3 of them looked up together to see a giant dragon and the burned roof. The dragon roared not, seeming to care about the pain in its throat. Zeke was stunned in front of the dragon. The people below ran away in panic, shouting, "It's a dragon! The dragon is invading!" Some cried out, "Mom!" Despite shaking like a leaf, Zeke acted like a hero. "Please run away, sir." He pointed towards the door. Contrary to Zeke's panic, Deus pointed at the dragon and questioned Alex. "You said dragons were peaceful, didn't you?" Alex couldn't take it anymore and snapped back. "I didn't say for sure." Okay, Zeke looked confused. "Well, yes, sir." Zeke's expression changed from confusion to puzzlement when he heard Deus say, "It's okay, Zeke." Deus comforted Zeke with a demonic red gaze. "I will be your assistant, so become a hero." Deus is tempting me like a child with candy. Anyway, we're looking for a hero, so it's probably fate. Let's accept it. We'll give you the wealth and fame you desire. We'll erase your useless reputation. Everyone will be amazed. Zeke is no exception. Deus is still tempting me with his words. I can live a wasteful life or accept his offer and change my fate. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Zeke's eyes have become vacant. At this moment, Zeke recalls his past. Being a low-ranking blood soldier is useless. They can't even have children. He's just a failure, a waste. He's lucky not to have starved to death. The image of a big brother holding a crying younger sibling, asking where their parents are, and complaining of hunger appears in his mind. Zeke thinks this is his chance. He kneels before the two demons, fearing they might change their minds. "Please have mercy on me, sir. I'm just a nobody, but I'll do my best. I won't disappoint you." He speaks with tears and snot. "I'll offer my soul to you." At this moment, Deus's demonic nature is revealed. "We're just about to ask you something." Deus introduces the task to Zeke. "Today will be the day you go to battle and hunt that dragon." Zeke can't believe his ears. Zeke kneels before the two demons, pleading, "Please support me. I may be F rank, but I'll do my best. I'll make sure you won't regret giving me this chance." He makes a promise with tears and snot all over his face. "If you want, I'll offer my soul to you." Deus wants him anyway. Deus extends his hand and purple light surrounds them. "Let's make a contract." A contract appears before Zeke. The content is as follows. Contract between Party A, Deus, and Party B, Zeke Pan. Holy bitch! Article 1, Party B will choose Party A as their associate hero. Article 2. Party B will absolutely obey all orders from Party A. Article 3. The relationship can last indefinitely at Party A's discretion, and only Party A has the right to cancel the contract. Article 4. The fame and wealth obtained from the journey will be divided with Party B, according to any ratio Party A desires at any time. Article 5, Party B will not have any objections to the above conditions. Reading this makes Zeke feel like it's an unfair contract. Deus's red eyes like blood look at the person below. His voice is like a temptation. "Sign if you agree to the contract." "The contract will be completed." Zeke grits his teeth, making a sound. His eyes are determined. His eyes widen automatically. Fame and wealth? With tears and snot, he shouts his name, Zeke Pan, holy bitch. His name is printed on the contract. Seeing this, Deus can't hide his smile. Deus points upwards, happy. "Now it's time for your debut. Go kill that dragon." Alex can't help but speak up. "Sir, humans usually don't defeat a dragon alone." Deus raises his index finger, smiling. "I know. He just needs to pretend to kill it, and I'll be the one to actually do it." Alex and Zeke are surprised. Deus shares his plan. First, Alex will visit the dragon. Then he'll drop it in front of the defective product Zeke. At that moment, Zeke will swing his sword at the falling dragon. Deus imagines the scene: Zeke standing on the dragon, sword raised, while the surrounding people cheer, thinking he's a hero. How stupid. He saved us because others will think that the defective product Zeke will kill the dragon attacking the village. This vision makes Zeke, who's crying, shut up. Alex is speechless. Alex decides to express his doubts. "But sir, if an F rank like Zeke suddenly kills a dragon, people will be suspicious. Won't it make you too conspicuous to live peacefully, sir? Deus doesn't answer. He turns his head to look at Zeke with a hungry gaze, like he's seeing prey. Zeke feels a chill down his spine. Why are you looking at me like that, sir? Deus still doesn't respond directly. Zeke is always on edge, unable to react. Deus grabs a pot and uses his laser-like eyes to make 2 holes in it. Without any unnecessary movements, he puts the pot on Zeke's head. Zeke is startled and shouts. Zeke is shocked. Deus doesn't care. The hero mask appears. Zeke is wearing a pot with holes a cloak, made from a waiter's uniform, and only his underwear. He's embarrassed and shouts in his mind, "What's going on?" Deus's eyes and lips curve into a smile. A hero should wear a cloak and mask. Now no one will notice the appearance of a mysterious hero. Isn't it perfect? Alex bows and picks up something. He adjusts his hat and says to Zeke, "I'll bring the dragon." Deus is hiding okay. Alex prepares to fly. Deus turns to Zeke and says, "Let's go." Zeke is hesitant, sweating, and his face is red. Are we really going out like this to fight a dragon? He thinks he's missing something. He looks to the side and sees a sword. Is not picky kicks straight away, and even claims this is a sacred sword. Zeke chose and picked up the thing, looked closely, and it was clearly a floor mop. Zeke's puzzled expression made Deus annoyed, and he reminded him in a frightening voice, "Just stand still and hold that mop even when the dragon is right in front of you. Afterwards, I will grant you fame and wealth beyond your wildest dreams." Zeke sweated more after hearing this, and he felt like he couldn't understand what was happening. Suddenly, he clenched his fist as if he could destroy anything that stood in his way. The air around him changed, and he let out a roar, an extreme desire seemingly coming from something deep within Zeke's blood, a heroic instinct that had been dormant within his red blood cells. The heroic bloodline yearning to tear the Demon King apart. Around Deus was the blackness of demons and a savage smile. But Zeke, not understanding what was happening, thought to himself. Upon seeing Deus's eyes, he began to feel courageous, as if he could do it. Thinking of the fame and wealth, Zeke's eyes lit up with excitement, like a child. "Yes, master." Deus ordered go my attendant. Zeke quickly obeyed and ran off. On the other side, the dragon was spewing fire everywhere. People were screaming and chaos ensued. Save me. The dragon continued to roar menacingly. It circled around with its flames and then flew off in another direction. Not having flown far, a purple circle appeared in the air and a pair of rabbit feet descended, followed by Alex's entire body. It was ironic that a demon was standing on a holy cross blocking the dragon rather than a hero. Alex's facial expression was unclear, but at this moment the dragon was blinded by Alex's magic and roared. Alex grabbed one of its shoulders and pulled, revealing a part of his true form. He had many arms, and on those arms were thorn-like protrusions. It was the familiar gesture of adjusting his hat. Using the dragon's wing as a stepping stone, Alex jumped up and landed on the dragon's back. All of Alex's hands, over 10 in total, were raised high and struck the dragon repeatedly. Alex's hands targeted the dragon's golden heart, gripping it tightly. Alex threatened, "I have grasped your heart. You shouldn't resist me or my orders. I will ask you this first." Alex's eyes turned red as he wanted to know why the dragon appeared there. Didn't the dragons and humans have an agreement? Suddenly his eyes widened. On the dragon's body, Alex and his invasive hands looked like a monster. Each hand was purple, and Alex was extremely surprised. "What is this?" The dragon spoke in an untranslatable language. Alex's face turned extremely frightening upon hearing the language. How can a dragon like you know that filthy language? "What are you?" Something is wrong. The dragon swooped down from the sky. In the distance on the ground, Zeke was walking with firm steps, holding a mop, wearing a pot on his head, and only wearing underwear, trembling amidst the burning scene. He turned to the side when he heard a noise. "What's that?" 2 people were looking down from a window seeing Zeke. They asked each other, "Who is that? Why doesn't he run away?" Others around them also chimed in. Is he going to fight the dragon alone? Is he a hero? Fear and shame were mixed in their voices. Deus dispelled the doubt by sitting in a carriage, waving his hand and shouting, "Come on, masked hero, save our Jory." Zeke heard the voice and turned around. "Ah, Lord Deus." The people around him, upon hearing that help was coming, cheered and chanted, Masked hero, the hero is here. Is he really a hero? Zeke, feeling embarrassed, raised the mop and replied, "Thank you, everyone." He gripped the mop handle tightly, determined. "This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I must not let it slip." Zeke thought. His eyes became more determined when thinking of the fame and wealth. In the sky, the dragon was still roaring and spewing fire. It cried out in a voice that no one understood. It seemed to be driven mad by Alex on its back. Alex, sitting on the dragon's back, said it seemed difficult to control the dragon in its current state. There was no other way. Alex decided to use the 100 ghost hands technique. Hundreds of hands emerged from his body. They tightly bound the brown dragon's body. The dragon's color mixed with the black of Alex's sleeves and the purple of the magic. This technique was called the prison. Alex was tightly bound by the dragon, which cried out in pain. Alex raised his hand, showing the black claws typical of a demon. This was the final blow. The hands went straight into the dragon's heart. This blow was called heart pierce. Needless to say how painful it was. The dragon opened its mouth wide and roared in flames. Alex looked down, slightly puzzled. The purple things with eyes were wrapped around his hands and body. Alex's expression showed surprise. The dragon struggled to speak in a broken voice. "I'm sure I saw the one who was thought to be dead return here lying." It cried out again. The purple thing on the dragon's back seized the opportunity to fly straight into Alex's face. Looking at the situation, Alex understood. So that's how it is. Deus, sitting in the carriage, had lost patience. He shouted, "What are you doing, Alex? Hurry up and come. Down. The audience is waiting." How annoying. Just by looking at something in the sky, you can judge that you are creating a dragon. Why does it take you so long to kill one? Alex is being hit by a purple object flying into his eye, sticking tightly to his body, only revealing one eye. Alex understands what's going on. The dragon lets out painful cries. Its purple eyes fading gradually. Its massive body is being tightly wrapped by tentacles. It falls from the sky like that. Deus calls out to Zeke below, "Useless guy." Zeke turns his head in confusion, huh? He points to the sky, preparing to leave. "It's coming soon, Zeke." Zeke looks back hesitantly. Deus reminds him, "Try to time your swing accurately." In the sky, the dragon is falling about to land in front of Zeke, its head facing down, mouth open wide. Zeke suddenly calls out, "Mr. Deus." He looks up at the dragon, his face covered in sweat. "Yeah, I don't want to die." Seeing the person holding a broom in a ready position, still uttering the previous phrase, Deus can't help but laugh. He puts his hand on his chin. "I promise you, Deus, on my honor, no matter what happens, I won't let you die." Upon hearing this, Zeke's expression changes. The light in his eyes intensifies. He grips the broom handle, tightly determined. "That's right, I can do it." He brings the broom back, shouting, "First moonlight return." The dragon writhes in pain above. Alex on the dragon's back is annoyed by the purple substance sticking to him. "The substance has already covered half his face," Alex shouts. His hands stretch out. They transform into purple hands with eyes. They rush to confront Alex's unaffected hand directly. Watching his own hands fight each other, Alex thinks it's a bit troublesome. He looks down. In his current state, Alex is not far from the ground. He understands he needs to hurry quickly using the 100 ghost hands technique, followed by Heavenly Light Finger, only to see one of his arms waving wildly, dispersing the purple entities. A purple entity opens its eyes wide in surprise. Alex strains to grab the substance on his face. He pulls it off with a jerk, but it still sticks like a leech. Deus looks up at the sky where the dragon is descending. Getting closer. He reminds casually, "Slow down or our hero will be crushed." Alex continues to pull at the stubborn substance. It still clings tightly to his face. The dragon is now not far from the ground. The dragon is now not far from the ground. The surrounding people see it and shout to each other, "The dragon is attacking." "Run!" Zeke trembles with fear. People inside the houses shout to each other, "Hurry to the corridor, it's coming." Zeke watches the dragon get closer, shaking with fear. By this time, Alex has jumped off the dragon. Alex, he says with slight irritation, "What's with you, dragon? Slow down?" But then Deus sees the sight of Alex struggling to remove the purple substance from his face. The dragon is now very close to the ground. Zeke remains determined. "No matter what, I'll stand firm." A decisive blow, he recalls his childhood. when someone told him, "Zeke, watch closely." Young Zeke, holding a sword and carrying his younger sibling, asks back. His father carrying another sibling on his back, holding a sword with many notches, tells Zeke, "This sword technique is a family secret. Learn it well in case the Demon King's army invades our world." Zeke hesitantly tells his father that the village children say he can't defeat demons. Their family can't either. His father smiles. "Don't mind what others say. Our holy bitch clan carries the hero's holy blood. You will surely become a hero to defeat demons." He coughs a few times, making young Zeke worry, advising him to keep practicing. Zeke smiles. "Yes, father," returning to the present. Zeke grits his teeth. He raises the broom high. First moonlight return. At the same time, Alex manages to remove the purple substance, but one of his eyes has turned into a demon's eye. He shouts, "Guillotine!" A red energy shoots towards the dragon as Zeke swings the broom down, shouting, "Demon King's slash." The broom shines like a sword, creating a bright streak just as the dragon touches the ground. With its massive body, it causes chaos around it. Blood splattering everywhere. A house is destroyed when hit by the dragon's tail. Zeke closes his eyes tightly before blood splashes on him. He slowly opens his eyes. Looking down at his body covered in blood, he shouts. He looks back. Blood splatters everywhere. Someone shouts, "The hero." Others join in. "The dragon is defeated, our savior. The hero of the world, long live the hero." The praise makes Zeke feel elated. Deuce quickly covers his mouth, ahem. Pulling Zeke back to reality, he whispers, "You're not even changed yet, and you're running away, hiding hero." Zeke remembers and responds, "Ah yes." Then he quickly runs away. Alex is now standing on a damaged cross. His gaze follows Zeke's direction, one half of his face covered in unknown symbols. He looks aside at the dragon's corpse. The dragon lay motionless with the previous action, and the purple mist clinging to it. Alex realized that the person thought to be dead had returned. On a sunny morning with clear skies, Deus stretched and enjoyed the good sleep. Alex put the coffee cup on the table. "You're awake. He invited you to drink coffee?" Then yawned again. But Deus just stared blankly. Alex smiled brightly in response when he saw his master's confused-faced people say, "Humans start their day with a cup of coffee," he said. Surprising Deus. Alex heard Zeke running towards them. "Party, something's wrong." The two turned to Deus, surprised by the name Party. Zeke's face was full of excitement as he told Deus and Alex that the whole village was searching for a mysterious hero, and they wanted to honor that person as the village hero. The eyes looking at Zeke, who was covered in dirt, couldn't help but ask, "What happened to your clothes?" Zeke only then realized. With his bandaged hand, Zeke scratched his head. "Ah ha ha, the village was devastated after yesterday's disaster, so I helped the villagers clean up, and the pay wasn't bad." He raised the coffee cup to his lips. "It's all going according to plan." Before he could take a sip, the sunlight shining into his eyes made him squint. He sighed, looking towards the sun, waking up under the sun, and drinking fragrant coffee. Alex commented, "The morning in the lower world is beautiful too." The image of the room they were in, devastated by the dragon's destruction the night before, still maintained a respectful attitude. "The coffee made from the tongue and eyeball of the dragon is quite to my taste." The people below were helping each other. They were pulling each other out of the rubble, urging each other on. "Come on, is anyone there? Get out, someone's crying." "Oh no, my house." "Mom, where's Mom? Some were trying to recover from the previous night's event." "Oh, this is heavy. Don't complain, move faster, or we'll be here all night, just a bit more." Some women were bringing bread for the people to eat. "Thank you," they said happily. Others were carrying stones to put into baskets, telling Zeke to come on the weight, making him grunt slightly. A fat old man, after putting down the stones, cheered Zeke on. "Come on, Zeke, there's still a lot to do, though. It was heavy." Zeke replied with a, "Yes, ha-ha." Deus watched Zeke happily carrying stones and evaluated that they were trying to rebuild the devastated village. He looked like a child, resting his chin on his hands. Even a good-for-nothing is diligent. Alex didn't object. He told Deus what he knew. "Yesterday, I talked to that guy Zeke since he was young. He's done all sorts of jobs. His family is poor. Raising a hero is expensive." Looking at the person he was talking about. Still smiling, Alex continued. He's done laundry cleaning, fixing pipes. There's hardly anything he hasn't done. Deus seemed contemplative when he heard the story, especially when Alex mentioned that he had even worked at a tavern. He blurted out, "Then let's decide," leaving Alex confused, looking at the devastated area contrasting with the sparkling sea in the distance and the people below. Deus lazily said, "We've found the hero. Let's go. It's troublesome." He didn't know if Deus was praising or criticizing. "Let's start with this village. It's small and dull, but it makes me fond of it." He happily determined that this was the beginning for Deus. Suddenly, while they were chatting, he fell silent, making Alex turn around. Deus had stood up, his face beaming like a happy cat. "Let's go," he said, walking ahead. "What about the rest? Leave it to Zeke." Alex was full of questions, asking where they were going. His face was filled with joy and happiness. "Of course we're going to sell dragon skin. Isn't dragon skin valuable because it's used to make equipment? Our goal is to be in the top 2%. Alex pointed to the sky, remembering that the Hero Association had taken it all the night before Deus roared in anger. "What?" Alex added, "The dragon corpses are too heavy for ordinary people to carry." Deus' face turned red with anger. "Why did I kill it then?" His voice was gloomy, his hand trembling as he pointed forward. "Let's go." Alex also trembled, following. "Where are we going again?" Deus' eyes were filled with hatred. "Let's go tear apart those guys at the Hero Association." Alex quickly stopped him. "Wait, Master, don't!" His mind was racing like Deus, thinking, "Oh no," because the Hero Association was the headquarters of the heroes. Even if the Demon Lord was strong, fighting them alone might not be winnable. And if they discovered that the Demon Lord wasn't in the demon realm, it would be disastrous. He forced a smile, changing the subject. "Master, you said you'd stand with the heroes, didn't you?" Deus responded irritably. "So what?" Alex smiled, realizing he could divert Deus' attention. "In the human world, you need to register with the Hero Association to become a hero. If the Hero Association disappears, who will recognize Zeke as a hero?" Upon hearing this, Deus' face went blank. He turned around and put his hand on his chin. Thinking really, behind him, Alex was sweating, thinking to himself, "Did I just prevent a genocide?" After a while, Deus came up with something. "Then let's go there." Alex was surprised, thinking he had successfully prevented the disaster. Deus revealed a devilish face with a long tongue, well compensate for the loss with the neighboring countries, making Alex unbelieving. "I thought you didn't care," Alex concluded. "Then let's set off tomorrow." Alex's eyebrow twitched. "Or can we go back to the underworld?" In the flower-filled field, Alex's voice echoed Deus. The silence from Deus didn't stop Alex's mouth. "Deus." Still not getting a response. Alex called out louder. "Deus, like a child." Deus also shouted back. He was annoyed and asked, "Haven't you enjoyed your trip to the mortal world enough? Why don't we return to the demon world?" The demon world is waiting for your return. Your destiny is to arrive in 20 years. We don't have time to waste. You must quickly learn the Demon Lord's techniques to dominate the world. Alex. Deus lay down on the haystack. "It's not your business, you just want me to do it right?" Alex replied. "The reason why the Demon Lord will appear and attack the human world is inevitable. The 665 Demon Lords before you, both the demon world and humanity, have accepted it as a matter of course. You enjoy the breeze on the field. If everything goes as you wish, what's the need for gods? I'm just doing this for the sake of it. Think again and accept it. There won't be another Demon Lord." You say that, but Alex gets angry and gives his opinion. "Then, Lord Deus, you should at least give birth to the 666th Demon King if you marry. Not just anyone can be the Deus full of death. How dare you say that to me?" Alex doesn't care. "Unless you hand over the successor to us, I won't leave. You can lie down comfortably and close your eyes. If you stay like this, you can be my attendant forever." Alex doesn't give up. "Or should I find a wife for you?" "What if I find a woman suitable for you?" Deus threatens, "I'll destroy the demon world with my own hands if you mention marriage again." He knows he can't do anything, and Alex focuses on driving. Suddenly, Deus asks, "Is that possible?" Alex is puzzled. "What are you talking about, Lord Deus?" Deus's face turns red with embarrassment. The princess from last time! Alex still doesn't understand. Which princess? His face turns red. Alex's mouth opens wider in confusion. This makes Deus even more embarrassed, his hands flailing like they're about to take off. I want to ask if humans can have children with demons. Alex is surprised. Upon hearing Alex's affirmative response, Deus's face lights up. Alex explains it like a textbook. The way humans and demons mate is exactly the same. Deus listens to a bunch of information from Alex's mouth about how a man's testicles release semen, and when sperm meets a woman's egg, it forms an embryo. Alex's words go in one ear and out the other. Deus stops Alex's mouth with his hand, avoiding a sex education lesson. Alex responds with a simple yes. His eyes suddenly change. He reveals shocking news to Deus. If you want, you can transfer the demon gene into another person's body. He smiles menacingly. Then if you mate, you'll get pregnant. Even kissing can result in a 50% chance of a pregnancy, or 25% with a light kiss. Deus is shocked. A light kiss can get you pregnant. Alex throws out information that everyone sees as false. Even holding hands can make someone pregnant, not to mention Deus. He believes it's true, but suddenly lies down. What's wrong with this body? His face is expressionless like a log. I almost got into trouble because of the demon gene. This body was made to maintain that gene. His eyes glaze over due to the shocking news. The purpose of this body is clear: to kill and produce offspring. The more I know, the more I hate it. Alex looks at his master behind him. This body is blessed. You are the faith and savior of the demon world. This perfect body is a gift from God for you. Don't try to block my mouth. Deus says, I'm just one of the demons born every 1,000 years. He bluntly says, I don't like it. The clear blue sky and sunlight are before their eyes. This makes Deus less angry. What about my opinion? I feel like I'm being expected to do something. Suddenly, a shout interrupts Kaya. Alex and Deus turn their eyes towards the sound. A girl is running towards them, chased by a group of people. The girl wears a yellow outfit, and the group behind her looks extremely fierce, riding horses and laughing. Hurry up and catch her! The girl with golden hair, tears in her eyes, cries out for help. Please save me. I'm being chased by bandits. Alex looks on indifferently. A beautiful young lady is in danger. Shouldn't we help Deus? Wonders why? Should we? Alex thinks it might be a good deed. Deus seems skeptical. Don't you think it's suspicious? Alex is puzzled. What do you mean? He is nonchalant. She suddenly runs to us for help. Alex doesn't understand Deus's hint. Isn't this a classic damsel in distress trope in fantasy stories? As the girl and the group get closer, Deus analyzes. There's nowhere to hide around here, so where did they come from? Even if they were in the forest, it's too far away. The atmosphere becomes more serious as Deus brings up an important point. The image of the girl and the group becomes distorted in Alex's eyes. Don't you think it's strange that they didn't notice us while chasing her? Deus points out the crux of the problem. The fact that both of us didn't see them is strange and unlikely to happen. If they can evade Deus and Alex, there's another possibility. Deus narrows his eyes, looking at Alex, who Bampiang is sitting in front. You're suspicious. Did you set this up? Alex turns back and asks, what are you talking about? Deus accuses, you want to use that girl to get me to produce an heir. Alex turns back, laughing disdainfully. What kind of person do you think I am? I'm Alex, the greatest strategist in the demon world. I wouldn't come up with such a terrible idea. The girl in yellow who was being chased earlier runs to their carriage. She grabs the carriage tightly, staring at Deus, who is lying down. He raises an eyebrow, looking at her in puzzlement. The girl plays the tearful damsel, looking pitiful. Sir, please save me. The bandits are chasing me. Her weak face, crying and clutching the carriage, is a scene that would make any young man want to protect her. Deus still lies on the carriage hand behind his head, looking at the girl calmly. I'm not the hero. I'm the hero's assistant. The girl, upon hearing this, gasps, her face blank, forgetting to cry. But immediately after, her programmed mouth continues to wail. Please, assistant to the hero, save me. The churs want to catch me. Deus changes his posture, resting his chin on his hand, looking at her still, without any intention of helping. "We're a high-ranking battalion. We only hunt dragons. We don't do trivial tasks like this." The girl lowers her head, cursing inwardly. "Why are you so picky?" Deus wasn't deaf. He jumped up and pointed at her. "You just cursed, didn't you?" She continued to act, crying and justifying. "What's wrong?" "I wasn't. I was just begging you to help me." When Deus was still pointing at her, about to continue cursing, an axe flew in and hit him straight from behind, cold and precise. Deus turned to look at the axe that had pierced through the carriage, his face surprised. A strange voice rang out. "Hey, kid." Deus glanced back, looking at the source of the unpleasant call. A group of mountain bandits with hideous faces were riding horses towards them, laughing and teasing, provoking. "Look at his pale face." "If you don't want to die, take your trashy luggage and get out," another bandit said. "What's with those clothes? Are you from the future or something?" Deus looked at the mountain. Bandit sneered and said, "You mentioned luggage. My precious luggage is broken. You—" Deus's voice dropped. "Will be burned forever." Immediately, the leader of the mountain bandits was swallowed by a purple hellfire. The scene was so terrifying that the girl was shocked, standing still, watching the leader being burned to death. The bandits who were still teasing and provoking just moments before now stood frozen, watching their leader writhe and roll on the ground. He couldn't bear it, screaming "ah," and looking at his companions who hadn't been hit by the spell. "Help! It's too hot! Put out the fire!" Suddenly, Deus's voice rang out, cold and detached. "You can't put it out!" The bandits froze their bodies, sweating cold. Deus continued as if telling a story. "No matter who uses what magic or skill, this fire will never stop burning. You won't die, but you'll be burning forever, until the end of the world." "Anyone else want to be burned with him?" Deus asked with good intentions. This punishment was truly worse than death, and the mountain bandits certainly didn't want to experience it. They quickly mounted their horses and fled in panic. "I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I'm a demon. I'll run away." Deus looked down at the girl and said, "All right, you can go." The girl, sweating, smiled weakly at him. "Thank you, sir. Your assistant. The mountain bandits are also occupying our temple." She smiled awkwardly, her eyes narrowing. "All the nuns were taken as slaves." And the sacred object disappeared. "Please, sir, eliminate the mountain bandits and save the temple." In response to her plea, Deus responded nonchalantly, picking his nose. "No, I won't do odd jobs making the mean." Girl so angry that she crushed the carriage. Deus turned to Alex and said, "Let's go." Alex replied, "Yes, master." "Wait!" the girl suddenly shouted. Deus still had his little finger stuck in his nose, looking at her indifferently, wondering what she wanted. The girl's face was sweating. She seemed to be forcing herself to come up with a reason to keep the two from leaving. "You just mentioned the dragon. Are you perhaps a companion of the hero who wears a loincloth?" "The temple being occupied by the mountain bandits is the temple of the true golden dragon god. If you drive them away, we will reward you with the helmet of the golden dragon god." Deus stopped picking his nose. His eyes narrowed into a straight line like a snake sensing a delicious bait. "What are you still standing here for?" Thus they began a new journey, their feet heavy as they stepped on the winding stairs. Their breathing was labored, but something felt off. Alex's panting voice rang out. "Master." Finally they stopped. Deus asked what's wrong. Alex asked timidly. "Can't we just fly there?" He was breathing with his life force, having been a demon for hundreds of years. Of course, it was because Deus had been standing on his back the whole time, making him climb the stairs on foot. Deus responded nonchalantly. "How can we fly? I'm not the Demon King." Alex cried out in despair. "At least let me carry you normally. My legs are about to give out." The sorrowful sound was so pitiful that even the birds flew away. Deus said sarcastically, "I'm the dignity of the demon world, you know." Alex retorted, "I thought you said you weren't the Demon King." The two continued to bicker as they climbed. Alex was now sweating profusely. He said, "It's really worth thinking about." Looking up at the stairs, more than 10 meters above them, The yellow-clothed girl was still walking, as if flying, having run continuously for 30 minutes, Alex commented. On a steep mountain like this, with the physical strength of an ordinary person, she can still walk continuously, and even sing while walking. Deus stood on Alex's back, hands in his pockets, looking towards the girl. Who she is doesn't matter, he said. Alex, still panting, looked at Deus curiously. Deus's eyes were sharp, his gaze piercing. I don't know what she wants, but if she dares to lie, even con half a sentence, I'll skin her alive. But Deus paused for a moment, looking up. The girl was still walking, energetically, singing as she went. Deus voiced his curiosity. The true golden dragon. God. Does the dragon also worship gods? Alex frowned, saying timidly, No, it's not like that. It's similar to being revered in the demon world. The true golden dragon is a dragon god above all dragon species. To be more precise, we demons, the dragon clan and the human clan, all living beings in this world, have only one true god. That is the creator god who created this world. The overall picture of the three clans coexisting in one world. Deus still looked up, but said nothing. The sunlight was still shining brightly overhead. Deus exclaimed, It seems the gods are quite fond of humans, don't they? Demons and dragons are just supporting characters. Alex hastily corrected him. Don't be skeptical of the gods. The gods are the ultimate truth, the embodiment of perfect love. If we capture Hawthorne, the place illuminated by the divine light, we too will be favored. Alex continued, Below this mountain lies a peaceful kingdom teeming with life and bathed in the light of the divine. Deus pondered for a moment before concluding, a strange way to show love. Alex didn't back down and continued with his task, carrying Deus up the mountain. As they reached the summit, Alex exclaimed, We're here before collapsing completely. Deus stepped on Alex's head with disdain. You're so weak. Alex, unable to move, could only mumble in response. Deus looked ahead. An ancient temple appeared before them with a stone dragon head intricately carved above the entrance. Deus walked in calmly and tossed a comment over his shoulder to Alex, who was still lying on the ground. When we go down, you'll carry me again. The two of them pushed open the stone door and called out to the priestess inside. Deus' eyes gleamed with greed as he looked inside, unable to hide his excitement. Where is the armor of the true golden dragon? He asked. Alex, still recovering his strength, panted and reminded his master to be cautious, sensing something was off. Just as Deus spoke, the stone door behind them slammed shut with a loud thud, plunging everything into darkness. A voice echoed through the space. A powerful woman with golden hair floating in midair, her face hidden behind a delicate veil, spoke. Behind her, a giant dragon eye stared intently ahead. She smiled and said, You've had a tough journey. It seems your subordinate is more lively than you. Deus smiled brightly, looking at the woman. You resemble the bandit who occupies this temple. He asked, Where is the armor? Alex behind him was worried about his master's IQ. The woman floated into the air, swinging her legs as she observed the two below her. How dare you speak? You still don't understand your situation. Do you kneel down? She paused as if about to reveal something shocking. Her eyes sparkled, and she announced proudly, I am Divine Dragon, the ruler of the Dragon Clan and the mother of all dragons, the unique true golden dragon. Upon hearing this, Deus' expression changed, his eyes wide with surprise. Alex behind him was also shocked. Divine Dragon, the true golden dragon. Lord, we're in big trouble. Deus just looked on coldly. The woman's smile turned maniacal. You're surprised because this is beyond your expectations, isn't it, you foolish mortal? Her eyes shone with excitement. If you're afraid, beg for mercy. I'm not petty. Deus stroked his chin thoughtfully. Divine Dragon, huh? Interesting. The woman thought she had the upper hand when Deus responded. So you finally understand. To atone, I'll give you a task. Before she could finish, Deus interrupted. I want some cool titles like that too. He picked his nose, looking crude and unrefined, enraging the Dragon Mother. Deus turned to Alex with a smile. Every time I introduce myself, I feel something is missing. Lord of Darkness, top 2% extraordinary men. What do you think? Alex's eyes lit up, and he clapped. That's indeed worthy of my master. The Dragon Mother, ignored and enraged, was about to collapse. The two men turned to her coldly. The Dragon Mother was sweating, her anger making her tremble. Stop talking nonsense. Beg for mercy. Don't you want to apologize? Deus looked innocent. I didn't do anything to you, did I? The woman shouted angrily, pointing at them. Yesterday you killed one of my dragons. Am the mother of all the dragons. You killed my child. Deus laughed. You're making a big deal out of this. The woman floated towards them. She charged at Deus, who stood still, smiling confidently. The two faced each other, Deus saying, "So you've chosen death." A wall of flames erupted, encircling them. This was the Golden Jade Realm. The Dragon Mother's eyes blazed. Even if you're Demiurgos, you can't defeat me. Alex, standing within the flames, clutched his hat. Golden Jade Realm. Oh my God, we're in her territory. Fighting her is dangerous. The Dragon Mother smiled triumphantly. Your subordinate knows a lot. Kneel down, 666. You still dare to act like this after knowing who I am? Deus said, puzzling the woman. Deuce's eyes turned red like burning flames. If you're the true golden dragon, then let's use your skin, he said menacingly. I'm going to skin you alive. The Dragon Mother's eyes flashed with disbelief. You dare! Deus now resembled a snake eyeing its prey, his eyes full of killing intent. You know who I am, yet you still dare to act like this. Prepare to be skinned alive. The Dragon Mother's eyes flashed with a light that didn't dare believe the arrogant person in front of her dared to speak like that. Did you ask her if she dared? Deus raised his finger, signaling her to be quiet. You don't want to apologize for disappointing me, huh? The Dragon Mother asked, her head full of question marks. Enraged, she shouted, What are you talking about? Deus thought for a moment to phrase his words, and she listened curiously. We didn't come to the surface to cause trouble, he said, putting his hands in his pockets as usual, calmly explaining himself. We just wanted to peacefully visit the village and befriend the so-called hero. But your young one came, breathed fire, and destroyed everything there. So what were we supposed to do? He continued. We were just defending ourselves. But when your young one caused trouble, you didn't even show up. And now you're luring us here to seek revenge. What's the meaning of this? Deus's questioning left the Dragon Mother speechless. He continued to speak calmly. You deceived us by disguising yourself as a witch and robbing us. Then you suddenly declared, I am the divine dragon, apologize to me. Did you think we'd kneel down and say, Oh, divine dragon, please forgive us this time? Do you think you can do whatever you want, just because you're a divine dragon? All dragons are like that, aren't they? Being criticized straight to their face as an irresponsible parent, the Dragon Mother was sweating profusely. Alex chimed in. He's right. It's really arrogant when you think you're always right, just because you have power. Deus didn't expect Alex to speak up too, and the Dragon Mother was left speechless once again. When everyone fights back against you, you say they're wrong. What's the logic in that? Alex stared at the Dragon Mother. Moreover, the dragons forgot the peace treaty with humanity and broke it first. It's your turn to apologize. So as a divine dragon, do you plan on apologizing to the people of Zorik's village for your child's wrongdoing? This question seemed to be beyond the Dragon Mother's script. Alex spoke like a senior, criticizing a junior. Look, a bad child is indeed the mother's fault, isn't it? The Dragon Mother reluctantly defended herself. I'm not their biological mother. Alex questioned her. Isn't this just avoiding responsibility? Why don't you want to take responsibility and keep blaming us? It seemed like the script had gone off track. The Dragon Mother couldn't take it anymore and shouted, Don't you have any shame? Just because some children are naughty doesn't mean their parents are problematic. Don't you know that Deus countered? You see, some parents don't know their children well, don't care about them. But when their children cause trouble, they say their kids are well behaved at home. People like that are scolded by others. Alex continued. As the representative of the dragons, the divine dragon, you should apologize for breaking the peace treaty because of a naughty dragon. You should take responsibility and resign, shouldn't you? Alex and Deus took turns speaking, making the Dragon Mother's ears bleed. The verbal attack was not light, and she was no longer as imposing as before. Seemingly intimidated by the two's eloquent reasoning, the Dragon Mother scratched her head and stuttered. "Is it that serious? I feel like I've done something wrong." "Yes, you have done something wrong," Deus said. "So can you let us leave now?" The two turned to leave. The Dragon Mother panicked and stopped them. "Wait," she hesitantly asked. "Since you've come this far, can you listen to one request from me?" Deus looked at her and said, "Apologize first." Upon hearing this, the Dragon Mother didn't respond, and Deus immediately turned to leave. "If you're not willing, then forget it. An apology doesn't cost me anything." She quickly called out, Wait. Deus's eyes lit up, seemingly successful. She hesitated and said, "I apologize." The three simple words took a while to come out, echoing in the vast space. The Dragon Mother's face twitched and her forehead was sweating. Deus said, "I'll let it slide because I'm generous." Deus smiled upon hearing this. Deus returned to his normal expression and asked her, "So what do you want?" "Divine Dragon." She frowned and said simply, "Dragon hunting." Deus puckered his lips, so he looked at her with a questioning and disdainful expression. "The real golden dragon. The divine dragon is the mother, asking me, the Demon King, to hunt my own kind. Is that right, Dragon Mother?" She weakly agreed. Upon hearing this, Deus laughed loudly. "Do you think I'm stupid? This is clearly a trap. You want me to believe such nonsense? Have you gone crazy, you silly dragon?" Deus laughed and cried, tapping his finger on the dragon's head to enlighten her. The Dragon Mother raised her hand to her head. No, it's not like that." Just as Deus was about to devour her, Alex spoke up. "Is it because of those purple parasites?" Deus stopped, his action of biting her cheek, looking puzzled. Alex recalled his battle with the dragon. A bunch of purple slimy things with thousands of eyes swarmed around the dragon's body. They were like parasites attached to the dragon's bodies. Perhaps they were the ones that drove the dragons crazy. The Dragon Mother broke free from Deus's claws. "Indeed, something doesn't quite feel right," she said. The extremists who refused peace had signed a contract with humans. Deus furrowed his brow and asked the extremists. The Dragon Mother said, "That's right. Yesterday's dragon was also one of the victims of the extremists." She glanced at Deus and continued. "The extremists are a group that has been hurt by humans, such as losing their wives or children at the hands of humans," the Dragon Mother explained. She turned around and walked slowly, saying, "It's unavoidable." The two people watched her, waiting for her to finish speaking. The Dragon Mother gazed into the distance, recalling the past, but they were blinded by their anger. The purple parasites with red eyes attacked villages by infecting children living in peace with a strange and powerful magic that they had never seen before. They infected dragons, causing them to destroy villages and spark a war between humans and dragons once again. She turned to the two people and said seriously, "You must catch them first, so that innocent children are no longer killed and used as tools of war." At this moment, the Dragon Mother looked strangely warm and gentle. Deus smiled mischievously and said, "I understand what you're saying." He looked at her with a sharp gaze, his hands casually tucked into his pockets. "It's called hunting, but the problem is that the extremists are manipulating the peace-loving dragons, causing them to go berserk and attack humans. And you want me to catch them before they're killed by humans, right?" Deus slowly looked at her and repeated her intention. The Dragon Mother replied, "Yes." Deus asked her, "So what are you going to give me in return?" The Dragon Mother was taken aback by this question. Deus's eyes gleamed with a fierce light, indicating that he was about to enter into a transaction that required a service fee. The Dragon Mother furrowed her brow and asked Deus, "What do you want?" Deus raised 5 fingers and said, 5 dragon scales. "That's the service fee." He continued, "Since ancient times, there have been weapons made from dragons. Each time we catch one of them, we'll take 5 dragon scales from them. Is that okay? Deus continued, in addition, we'll need some refined weapons and armor worth over 1,000 gold. That's the deal. The Dragon Mother listened and fell silent, lost in thought. After hearing the price, she broke out in sweat and asked, Are you a swindler? Deus snapped his fingers and said, Think whatever you want. Suddenly, a contract appeared. The content stated that Deus would take on the job, and the Golden Dragon would pay the fee. The job description was to capture and punish the dragons that had caused trouble in human cities and castles, and bring them to the Golden Dragon. The price was 5 dragon scales and refined weapons worth 100 gold for each dragon caught. The fee would be paid the next morning after the job was completed. If the contract was violated, the violator would become Deus's slave. It was a shocking contract. Deus smiled mischievously at her and said, Just read out your name, and the contract will be established. This is a deal with a demon. You'd better not take it lightly because you're betting your soul on it. The Golden Dragon gritted her teeth and said, I know that. The Golden Dragon cursed under her breath and then read out loud, Divine Dragon, Golden Dragon. Immediately, the contract turned into a purple mist, just like when Zeke signed the contract. Deus smiled sinisterly as he looked at the dragon in front of him. The contract had been signed. Open the door and let's go. I'll take care of it in a few days, he said. With that, the two of them turned and walked out. The Golden Dragon called out to them. Demon, she pleaded with Deus, looking at him with a desperate gaze. Please capture them alive. Don't cause any more deaths, she begged. That was her final plea. Deus looked at her, smiled brightly, and replied, Yes, ma'am. As he stepped outside, Deus smiled. The two of them followed each other out of the temple. Deus asked Alex, Everything didn't go as planned, did it? That's right, Alex replied, suddenly remembering something. Ah, that's right. He turned around and called out to the Golden Dragon. However, behind him was only a desolate temple with ancient carvings covered in moss. The stone door was nowhere to be seen. Alex panicked and exclaimed, What have you done, Lord? Deus's face turned red with rage as he shouted, Damn it! She still hasn't given me the Golden Dragon, King's crown. Alex could only remain silent upon hearing this. Alex broke out in sweat and reminded Deus, We're not dragons, so we can't go back to the Golden Jade Realm. Deus became furious again. This dragon has cheated me again. He shouted, One day I'll definitely rip off your face. His angry voice echoed through the mountains, causing birds to fly away in all directions. Alex shouted, You're a merchant of weapons. His voice echoed throughout the abandoned castle. Deus smiled benignly, rubbed his hands together, and admitted, That's right. Alex looked at Deus and asked why Zeke stood beside them, not understanding what they were talking about. Alex couldn't contain himself and released the demon within him, grabbing Deus's shoulders and shouting, Why are you selling weapons again? You abandoned us and came to the human world just to sell a few weapons to us. Deus still wore a smile on his face, ignoring Alex's outburst. Zeke held Alex back, calling out to him to calm down. After Alex finished speaking, Deus counterattacked, shouting back at him, When humans hunt down dragon children and turn them into weapons, how does that make you feel? Deus pointed at Alex's face and said, This is business, you numbskull. Alex was taken aback by Deus's fierce aura and couldn't respond. After finishing speaking, Deus still proudly rubbed his nose, his eyes shining brightly as he thought about the rewards he would enjoy alone. The dragon scales were actually weapons given by the true Golden Dragon. She said that as long as he caught dragons, she would give him a pile of weapons. Isn't that basically giving them away for free? The more Alex spoke, the more Deus drooled. Every 100 years, war breaks out, so selling weapons is the most profitable business. It will never lose, right? Alex cried his eyes out, advising Deus, It's not like that. If there are no demons, how can there be war? The mortal Zeke just scratched his head, thinking to himself, Catching dragons and getting rewards for free. Deus turned around and asked Alex, And you still don't know who I am, you idiot? Alex was so stunned by the question that he was left speechless. Deus's eyes sparkled with calculation as he excitedly said, Selling weapons is just capital for my true plan. I don't intend to be a merchant forever. Have you forgotten one person watches from the shadows, and the other has all the weapons in the world? Upon hearing this, Alex felt completely at ease. He looked at Deus with excitement. Just as I guessed it, turns out to be like this. You haven't forgotten about hell. Zeke immediately gave the order. Then let's quickly find a useful shop for us. Let's go. Alex carried Zeke and happily flew away like the wind. Yes, sir. As Alex and Zeke jumped down and disappeared from the castle, Deus stood there, watching them leave. Only then did he reveal his true inner thoughts. Why do I have to continue doing business, huh? Alex clicked his fingers together, smiling with ambition. The ultimate goal is, of course, to build a building. Just thinking about it is exhilarating. Being the owner of the most fantastic building in the world. I'm glad you're an idiot, Alex. Deus happily swung his legs. At this moment, he was lying on a bed, waiting for the other two to return. The sun had now reached its peak, shining extremely brightly. Deus lay on the bed, calmly looking up at the sky, and smiled slightly. He recalled a few things when he first met Zeke, a hotel servant who was shy. The first time he met Zeke, he scratched his head embarrassed and said, "Sorry, my level is only F. I'm just a waste." Then came the image of when they fought against that dragon. Everything was like a slow-motion movie in Deus's memory. In his mind, he also remembered another person, the true golden dragon, who looked at him and begged, must capture them alive to avoid more bloodshed. Deus silently smiled, his eyes half closed. The blazing sunlight shone on the top of the dilapidated building, whose roof had been destroyed. Deus sighed in relief. Now I've created a stable source of income and saved that stupid hero. That's it. I can become rich just by sitting still. But what was this feeling of emptiness? Blood and slaughter. The image of Zeke standing awkwardly scratching his head appeared again, but this time it was surrounded by a sea of flames. Deus thought emptily. If I kill everyone in this town, will I feel better? The image of Zeke in Deus's mind was distorted with his eyes crossed out. Zeke still smiled, but he was crying. There was a deep, muddled voice whispering around. Deus killed them all. The space was shrouded in negative energy. Deus looked in one direction, confused. The voice echoed again. Destroy the world. The image of the demon army from years ago appeared again in Deus's mind. Make humanity your slaves. Turn the human world into hell. The scene of war and slaughter broke out everywhere with flames, illuminating the entire sky. The demons flew in the air, destroying everything they passed through. Extremely tragic. The Demon King will rule again. Then you will end the cycle of rebirth and death under the earth, where the sunlight no longer shines every time 100 years pass. Deus looked unfeelingly at the space in front of him, his eyes shining brightly. Then he closed his eyes and said coldly, "Go to sleep and shut your mouth." The sunset dyed the entire sky red. Alex stopped and said, "Here it is." The two of them stopped in front of a dilapidated building. A new weapon shop whose owner had died during the dragon invasion was bought at a low price. Alex and Deus stretched and yawned. "Not bad. You found it quickly. I didn't even get to sleep yet." Alex covered his face, embarrassed, and revealed his thoughts like a young girl. "Once I heard the true plan, I got so excited that I couldn't sit still." When Alex mentioned this, Deus felt embarrassed and forced a laugh. "Aha, that's right. Let's work hard together for the true plan. Okay?" Alex looked at the shop in front of him and calculated, if we get Zeke to fix it, this place will become a pretty good shop. Deus wondered, can Zeke really fix a house? Yes, he said he used to be a carpenter. Upon hearing this, Deus was amazed. He's really talented for someone so young. But isn't bloodline level something that's passed down from generation to generation? I mean, even if a pure-blooded person has a child, that child can still be level F, right? Deus wondered, turning to ask Alex. Alex acknowledged. That's right. And conversely, there are also examples of children of heroes being level F and a saint, becoming the ultimate winner. He concluded, So it's all random? Suddenly Deus asked. Then is there any hope for a waste? Just because the family is all level F, should the child be labeled as level F too? Alex wasn't sure about this either. It was quite vague. Deus looked at him, waiting for an answer. Alex smiled and said, although it's not a skill, wealth will be inherited. A family that frequently produces high-ranking warriors or saints will have a lot of wealth like kings and lords. With that money, they can raise the level of their hero or the level of their bloodline in various ways. Alex smiled with a hint of hidden meaning. Deus looked up and said, in other words, even if that child is level F, they can still become successful, right? But because Zeke himself said that he was level F, it was likely that he had already been ranked as a hero. Deus fell silent upon hearing this. Do you know what I'm thinking? Deus asked Alex. Of course not, Alex replied. I'm not a worm in your belly. Deus grabbed Alex's head and throat, yelling, wretched humans using money to decide their hero level. Why do demons always lose to such people? The pitiful Alex could only weakly say, I apologize, even though it wasn't his fault. Deus released Alex, but his anger still made his whole body flush red. Let's not talk about it anymore. Anyway, the demon world is no longer important. Alex stood quietly, swallowing his tears back into his heart. Where has our hero gone? Alex hesitated. Then. At a small food stall in the market, Zeke was happily selling noodles. When he saw the two people, he stopped chopping meat. Zeke, with a dirty face, smiled and greeted Master Deus. You're awake. Deus looked at him in confusion. What's going on? Why are you suddenly selling noodles? Zeke scratched his head embarrassedly. I had some free time at night, so I wanted to try it. Even so, the income is quite good. Deus sat down on a chair in front of the counter and ordered, Then give me a bowl of noodles. Zeke responded enthusiastically. Yes, master. Zeke skillfully performed a series of cooking actions. Chopping scallions, slicing meat, and pouring broth, and a delicious bowl of noodles was ready. Here you are, sir. Deus looked at the steaming hot noodles in a small bowl, and his mouth began to water. Is that noodles? Deus picked up some noodles with his chopsticks and brought them to his mouth. As the flavors touched his throat, Deus was surprised, his face filled with happiness. It's so delicious. Alex couldn't help but say, Hilly, I'll try some too. As soon as the flavors touched Alex's mouth, he exclaimed, It's incredibly delicious, Zeke. Alex and Deus simultaneously pointed at Zeke and said, You should quit being a hero and switch to this job. Zeke scratched his head embarrassedly. I'll take it as you guys are praising me. Zeke's heart was filled with joy as he watched the two people eat with relish. Deus stopped eating and said, Thank you very much, Zeke. Zeke happily explained. Thanks to you, I was able to buy uniforms for my younger brothers who are studying at the warrior school. Only the two of them didn't have uniforms, so I always felt bad. They seemed indifferent, but when you gave me the money, they were very happy. Deus asked curiously while eating his noodles. Warrior school, Zeke explained. Yes, it sounds arrogant, but I'm sending both of them to a private elementary school for warriors. I'm not strong, but I'm confident that they can become real warriors, so I'll invest all my resources in their future. Just as they were chatting happily, someone yelled, What's this? There's a fly in the noodles. A man threw his bowl of noodles I didn't want to eat here, but I was hungry, so I ate temporarily. Look at this. The woman beside him, dressed seductively, didn't stop him, but looked down on Zeke. I told you I didn't want to eat at such a dirty place. Zeke, still maintaining a standard serving attitude, apologized. I'm sorry, but there aren't any flies around here, sir. Before Zeke could finish speaking, the bowl of noodles was thrown straight at him. Zeke could only cover his face with his hands. The man, taking advantage of the situation, continued. So you're saying I'm lying? You don't know who my father is. I just need to say a word, and this stall will be closed immediately. The woman beside him smiled as if afraid that others wouldn't know who they were. The man's tirade suddenly stopped as he realized something. Seeing Zeke covered in noodles, the man suddenly stopped yelling. Wait a minute. Aren't you from the holy bitch family? The woman's expression changed. Isn't that the powerful family? She juggled her words. I knew it. You're still sitting here belonging to the holy bitch family." The man started laughing, and the surrounding people began to whisper, "Holy bitch family. What's going on? Since when did a hero become a chef?" Zeke's eyes became sorrowful. The man looked down on Zeke. "I know the holy bitch family is pathetic. Your father came to our house begging for a job, and you're selling this rubbish on the street. How disgusting." Not only did he insult Zeke, but he also directly attacked his family. Like father, like son. "You're a hero. A hero who sells noodles." Zeke was stunned. Dews had had enough! That's enough! He slammed his chopsticks on the table, startling the two customers. "I think I heard a fly buzzing around here," Deus said. Zeke didn't expect Deus to intervene. The man still yelled, "You dare to call me a fly? Do you want me to rip your head off?" Deus challenged him. "You're daring to challenge me. You're making a big mistake." Deus raised his hand. He still didn't understand what was happening. Deus just clenched his fist and killed a few flies, like it was nothing. The guy exploded and went to meet the Lord, leaving Zeke looking bewildered and Alex looking indifferent. The woman beside him was so scared that she screamed. She grabbed her skirt and ran away, no longer showing any disdain. "Help!" Deus wasn't going to let him off. He raised his hand again, and in his palm appeared a black circle. "You want to run away?" She was slowly sucked into the black hole in his hand, a scene that left Zeke's jaw dropping to the floor. Finally, when she was just a few strands of hair floating in the air, Deus clenched his fist again. Deus's face was extremely displeased. Those who don't respect the hero who risked his life to fight for us don't deserve to live in this human world. Alex just watched and didn't say anything, regardless of the people around him still being shocked by what had just happened. Deus continued to return to his bowl of noodles, and this scene brought Zeke back to reality. Just as he was about to take a bite, a piece of paper suddenly appeared and floated down to Deus's place. On the paper was a message: "A dragon has appeared at Leah Castle. You must set off immediately." Deus slammed his hand on the table, looking delighted. "Hey, good-for-nothing, close the restaurant. Our first mission from a super important client has arrived. Let's go make some money." Zeke was still in a daze, but when his boss spoke, he immediately responded, "Yes, sir." The bright moonlight shone down on the sky. The sound of horses and carriages echoed through the air. On the carriage were 3 people, Deus, Zeke, and Alex, speeding along like they were flying. With his sharp eyes, Alex noticed Zeke's trembling hand. He was looking at Deus, wanting to say something but couldn't, his body shaking like a leaf. Alex noticed and asked, "Are you worried?" Zeke scratched his head, admitting, "Yes, ha! I guess so." He was wearing a helmet like last time, playing the role of a hero. His eyes shining with excitement. "Never thought that someone like me would be fighting orcs or goblins, let alone dragons. Before meeting you and Lord Deus, I wouldn't have dared to dream that I'd be fighting orcs and dragons one day." His gaze suddenly changed as he looked at Deus, who was lying at the back of the carriage. Deus was yawning, drooling, and picking his nose. Zeke continued to speak with emotion. "You might not believe me, but now whenever I look at Lord Deus, I feel like he exudes a confidence that makes me think, it's just a dragon. What's the big deal? If I face it, I'd be scared stiff." Alex praised, "It's good to know fear. You might not think so, but Lord Deus has designated you as a hero. And even if you don't always feel like one, you're still a hero. You're definitely the leader on this adventure, so be confident." This made Zeke blush. Zeke stuttered. Yes," Alex encouraged him. "Don't be so weak. Be strong." Zeke understood and shouted loudly. Alex's horse galloped swiftly. He reminded, "We're almost at Leah Castle. Hold on." Zeke's voice grew louder. Yes, the carriage wheels turned sharply. Zeke closed his eyes at this speed. He opened his eyes to see a grand castle wrapped around by a giant white dragon. So big. The white dragon was covered in purple markings and was screaming in pain. Zeke leaned forward, surprised. "The castle. The dragon has destroyed it. What about the people inside?" Deus, who was lying at the back, pointed to one side, his tone indifferent. Go, they're all gathered on the other side. Alex judged that a castle of that size must have some heroes of level G. They've probably helped the people inside escape. Zeke understood and felt relieved. Deus didn't care to him. The stage was set, and the audience had gathered. It was time to perform. Get ready, good for nothing! Zeke sweated, responding, why, yes. People looked towards the castle, coughing and cursing. Damn it! The civilians wearing thin brown coats breathed out mist in the cold. Where did that dragon come from? Is this the end of the world? Some passed warm blankets to the wounded. I'm freezing to death. Others prayed. Dear Lord, please help us. While some cursed, stop praying. It won't help. Some people continued to pray. Please make this storm stop, dear Lord. Have you abandoned us? Others added, even the king seems to have abandoned us. So why should the gods care while some continued to pray? Dear Lord, elsewhere on a throne, a fat king sat under him. Were people from the Holy See performing magic to counter the cold? Yet he complained, it's too hot, like a sauna. The king scratched his face. I wonder how much food it takes to feed someone as fat as me, he mentioned, that the heroes were out searching for a savior. They need to return to the castle. An old priest replied to the king's question. It's highly likely that they were killed by that dragon. I'm not able to contact any of them. The king's face turned red with rage. What is this? Then you should take action yourself. If we continue like this, we'll surely die from the heat. A familiar voice shouted, Move aside! Move aside quickly! Zeke appeared with a pot on his head and a servant's outfit on his body. He stood on a carriage, driven by Alex. The crowd cheered. The hero has arrived. The king looked back in surprise, and Zeke's eyes shone brightly. The carriage flew over the king's head. The king was so shocked that he stuttered, H-hero! He couldn't believe his eyes. You're just a pervert wearing underwear and holding a broom. They're escaping. Catch them. Zeke's carriage, driven by Alex, flew past the king and his guards. Zeke struck a pose, but deep down he felt embarrassed. At this moment, the inner layer of his clothing opened, allowing cold wind to enter. The king growled, It's too cold! Cast a spell quickly. The old priest obediently knelt down. Yes, your majesty. The king's face turned red with anger. How dare you jump over people's heads? I hope you're eaten by that dragon. A young child among the crowd was held tightly by his mother to keep warm. The boy pointed at something and called out to his mother. Mother, look! The mother followed his gaze. What's that, son? A horse-drawn carriage was rushing towards the dragon and the castle. The boy asked, Is that guy wearing only underwear going to fight the dragon, mother? The crowd looked in the same direction. Shocked, is he the hero who will defeat the dragon and save us? On the carriage, Alex drove seriously while Deus lay down. After striking a pose, Zeke sat down, shivering. Cold. Alex praised him. Well done. Zeke gritted his teeth, looking at the people around him who were frozen. Many people couldn't escape and were frozen to death with various expressions of pain. Zeke looked up and saw something. We're almost there. Just a little further. Deus finally spoke up. Alex, you good for nothing. Get ready. Deus explained the plan. You good for nothing will stand where everyone can see you. Alex, you'll catch that lizard and drop it right in front of the good for nothing. Deus continued to give orders lazily. Then good for nothing, you'll finish it off with a broom. Understand, Zeke was so cold that his nose was running, thinking I knew it would be this plan. Deus remained as lazy as ever. Especially you, Alex. Don't joke around like last time and make me have to intervene again. Alex replied, Don't worry, my lord. Alex created a purple spatial rift. He revealed a demonic appearance standing on the carriage. Last time that lowly creature was a bit troublesome because I didn't pay attention to its state, but I won't make the same mistake this time. Zeke was shocked. Just as they were about to attack the dragon, Deus called out to Alex. Deus requested Alex, don't kill it. Capture it alive for me. Alex revealed a dark expression. Yes, my lord. Then I'll just beat it to a pulp. Alex called out to Zeke, who was shivering. Alex removed his hat and reminded Zeke, the dragon is huge, so things might get chaotic. Make sure you, Stand firm and steady. Okay? Zeke was so cold that he could only respond with his thoughts. I know. Zeke entered the spatial rift created by Alex. As he did, Zeke's mind began to process what was happening. Stand firm, Alex. Deus called out to Alex again. Stop the carriage, good for nothing. Alex lazily waved his hand. I'll lie here and take a nap. Go deal with the dragon quickly. Zeke, like a low-paid worker, obediently replied, Yes, my lord. Just as things seemed to be going smoothly, Zeke called out again. But my lord Deus, the dragon, is roaring in the distance. Zeke was frightened and hesitantly suggested, Could you come with me, my lord? I'm about to wet myself. The purple entities with eyes attached to the dragon's body turned towards Zeke's voice. Alex appeared from mid-air with a demonic appearance, gradually approaching the dragon and the entities. He sensed the danger approaching. The purple entities suddenly stiffened and rushed towards Alex. Alex easily dodged all of them, even when they tried to touch his face or any other part of his body. They were struck by Alex's purple energy. After a few hits, the dragon released its grip on the castle and fell. A cloud of snow dust rose and Zeke saw the dragon fall, his hands shaking. In the cold wind, Zeke was shaking, and the image of the dragon's defeat by Alex made him exclaim in his heart, amazing. But due to the smoke, Zeke couldn't see anything, unsure if the battle had begun. Zeke quickly turned around, thinking he needed to find a place where Alex could easily spot him. Deus called out to Zeke leisurely. Good for nothing. At the same time, Zeke caught a wooden shield thrown to him. Before he could understand what was happening, Deus, who was lying on the carriage, explained, Don't you always carry this shield with you? Saying something like, a hero should at least have a shield. Isn't this the heirloom of your father? Besides, Deus pointed his finger at the shield, and a dark purple energy surrounded it. Zeke looked at the shield that was magically protected by Deus, not understanding. Without Zeke needing to ask, Deus already knew and replied, This is a magical barrier that protects it. It can withstand dragon's wrath. Zeke was moved to tears. He was about to express his thoughts, but before he could finish, he saw Deus had already fallen asleep like a sleeping beauty. He got out of the carriage and didn't forget to wish Deus a good night's sleep. With the floor-cleaning broom and the magically protected shield, Zeke felt confident. He needed to quickly reach a suitable location so that Alex wouldn't have to wait any longer. He looked around to find a suitable spot, a place that was easily visible somewhere high and central. He chose a location that met his requirements. Zeke quickly walked towards the chosen location, but his foot suddenly stumbled. He rolled like a ball towards the location. At that moment, the dragon slowly stood up. It roared in pain, and several purple lumps appeared, causing great discomfort. Alex mercilessly stepped on the purple lumps. Alex's hand cut through the purple lumps like a knife. His eyes were extremely cold. One of the purple lumps suddenly changed its expression. It delivered a shocking blow to Alex. The dragon seemed to have gotten rid of the annoying things on its body. It flew straight up into the air, causing a cloud of dust and snow. A hand appeared in the air and covered the dragon's mouth. Alex appeared unharmed. Only his handsome face was attacked. He flew straight towards the dragon. As he approached it, he used magic, and numerous purple arms appeared behind him. The demonic eyes were clearly visible on Alex. A precise and unerring strike. The dragon fell straight from the sky, causing a series of tremors. It was unclear whether it was in pain or not. Alex, with one arm transformed into a demonic form, approached it. You recover quickly, don't you? Is it because of your size? It still roared as if trying to respond to him. Alex waved his hand, ending it there. From a distance, Zeke saw the dragon being brutally handled. He felt it was truly amazing. Zeke stood on a rocky outcrop. He watched as Alex handled the dragon alone, feeling a bit scared. His eyes widened in surprise as he heard the murmurs behind him. Is that a D-rank hunter? He looked back at the crowd of people standing behind him, some of whom were rejoicing at the sight of the hero who had saved them. What's going on? Is he winning? Some people were suspicious, wondering why he was dressed like that. Others were happy to be saved, shouting, Thank God we've been saved. Move aside, hero. Some were cheering. Come on, hero. All the people were cheering. The king, hearing this, bit his nails anxiously. Is that really a hero? Zeke was extremely surprised by the cheers. Everyone was cheering for him. The cheers grew louder. "You can do it!" As he continued to cheer, Zeke felt that Alex, who was far away, was the real hero. Not like him who was shaking with fear while standing there. Alex was the true hero. He felt envious. He stood there in a daze, thinking that he also wanted to become a hero like Alex, saving people and giving them hope. Just as he was lost in thought, Zeke heard a cry for help. "Please save me." Zeke turned his gaze towards the source of the sound, seeing a person about to be frozen. Only half of their face was visible, crying out for help. "Please save me, hero." Zeke was shocked. On the other side, the dragon's tail swung from left to right, forcing Alex to fly away to avoid being hit. The tail smashed into a block of ice. Zeke heard the noise and turned his head towards the battle. The blocks of ice fell towards Alex, who had to dodge them. Alex wasn't pleased and scolded. The dragon's claws touched the ground forcefully. The dragon had gone mad, roaring and speaking an untranslatable language. Yet Alex understood. "So you can recover infinitely as long as the host doesn't die. Is it because of the parasitic nature?" Alex coldly evaluated. "You're like an undead dragon." The dragon's claws touched the ground, and it changed direction, its roar filled with pain. Alex understood. "So you can replicate infinitely unless you remove it from the host." "Indeed, you're like an undead dragon." The dragon still stood tall despite Alex's repeated kicks. Alex felt annoyed. If he couldn't kill it, there was only one way left. Just cut off all its limbs. The dragon used its leg strength again. It flew up roaring and charged towards the rocky outcrop where people were. Alex didn't hesitate and used the 100 hands technique. Numerous arms grew out from his back. The small arms gradually wrapped around each other before the dragon could reach them. They formed a large hand. This technique was called like a hand. The giant hand was clenched. It mercilessly punched the dragon, which collapsed to the ground. This time, Alex used the 100 demonic hands Hell's Hammer technique. Several giant arms pounded the dragon lying on the ground repeatedly. The repeated blows left the dragon unable to roar again. The arms then merged into one. It grabbed the dragon's neck and lifted it up. A white energy accumulated in the dragon's mouth. Alex didn't care and continued to focus on his magic. The dragon released a powerful icy energy. Even Zeke, who was far away, was affected and fell down. The boy fell onto the snow-covered ground, struggling to exhale. A multitude of arms enveloped Alex's entire body. Alex had had enough. "This ends here." The gigantic arm squeezed the dragon's neck even tighter. It let out a roar. Alex's eyes widened more than the sole 100-handed demon. From one being with 3 arms merging into one, they now split into 3. 2 arms grasped the dragon's wings. A majestic scene unfolded before his eyes, resembling a graph with 3 axes, including 2 with yin and yang, unable to move due to being held. The dragon let out a deafening scream. Alex didn't care. He slammed it down with reversed flow pill and then swung his arm again, mercilessly crushing it with the technique. Great demon form of 10,000 fists. The people watching from afar only saw the dragon fall and were stunned. Zeke was also shocked because everything happened too quickly. He realized that this wasn't the time to stand around. He rushed towards this person who had just called for help. He had to save them quickly. The person was about to meet their maker due to the cold wind. The weak person managed to utter the word, "Help." Zeke, upon seeing this, couldn't help but say, "Don't worry, I'll get you out right away." He touched the ice block and the cold seeped into his cells. It was too cold. Zeke took a breath and saw something. A young man had been frozen solid. Even his tears were frozen, looking pitiful. Zeke sensed that he was dead. While trying to save the girl, he saw a woman calling out to him holding a child whose face was red from the cold with tears and snot all over it, begging the child to please save it. Zeke heard the child's cry and quickly used a broom handle to smash the ice. The ice broke into smaller pieces. He comforted the child. "Hang in there a bit longer. I'll get you out right away," but he thought to himself. He had to abandon the father to save the mother and child. On the other side, Alex and the dragon were still fighting. He calculated that Alex would soon arrive. He needed to hurry and save them. Then return to the original spot. A white light appeared from where the dragon was. The people recognized the light. One person with bloodshot eyes shouted, "Get out of the way! The hero is coming!" The light was also what destroyed our castle. The light became stronger. A powerful beam of light shot out like a shockwave, flying towards Zeke's location. Zeke quickly raised the shield that Deus had enchanted earlier, but it still couldn't block the power. He was blown away, and the shield shattered. The people watching from afar saw the beam of light approaching. When it hit them, they could only cry out a few words. Even the king felt it, and cried out, "It's too cold!" The ice around the dragon began to form, and it roared as if being slaughtered. Alex remained standing still with strange symbols all over his body, just like before. "It's a bit hard to maintain this skin I've kept for the battle 20 years later. It's really uncomfortable." Zeke, buried under the snow, slowly opened his eyes. He was alive because of Deus's shield magic. Why is it so cold? Zeke's eyes widened as he remembered the child. He quickly sat up from the snow and looked around. Seeing the child still crying, he felt relieved that the child was still alive. He saw the mother shattered, still holding the child. Zeke sighed. "Hang in there, mother, I'm coming." But as he stood up, he fell back down. He looked back and saw that his legs were frozen and destroyed, and one of his arms was also damaged. The ice on the dragon's body began to move again. The people watching were terrified. "It's coming back. Hero, run quickly." Zeke clenched his fist. Even if he had to crawl, he would try. "I must save the child. I am a hero. I won't be a waste." The people cheered for him. "Hero. Be careful, Hero, this way." Zeke struggled to get closer to the child. He thought, maybe I won't be able to save everyone like other heroes, but I'll save this child. Alex looked at the dragon and was about to use that power again. "You don't realize it's ineffective against me, do you?" Alex sneered at it. "That's why you creatures are always taken advantage of by humans, you stupid lizard." The white light from the dragon continued to emanate, ignoring Alex's taunts. Zeke, holding the child tightly, was still blown away. Zeke closed his eyes tightly. He was buried under the cold snow. A fur coat was thrown over him, and he opened his eyes slightly. The person who threw the coat sat down and sighed. "I really don't understand." Deus wore a thin cloak, watching Zeke lying there holding the child. "How could they think they could defeat me if they're this weak?" He propped his chin up, and his eyes, like those of a demon, showed that they were like candles in the wind, easily extinguished. And they still sacrificed themselves to save others. We really lost to them 6,500 years ago. I just can't understand it. Zeke, still smiling, said, "Lord Deus, I'm sorry I didn't make it in time. I'll try harder next time." As soon as Zeke finished saying next time, he collapsed onto the snow. Zeke opened his eyes drowsily, and then closed them again as if it were just another Monday. Zeke, covered in bandages, suddenly sat up. "What happened to the dragon, Lord Deus?" He looked around, confused. "Is this Lord Deus's room? Wait, why am I here?" He remembered being frozen, and his hand being damaged. Zeke raised his hand to scratch his head, looking puzzled. He pulled up the blanket to look at his legs. He looked at his legs and saw that they were still intact, with purple stitches where they had been reattached. "This can't be real," he thought. "I must be dreaming or going mad." A voice interrupted his thoughts. "The divine dragon is quite something, isn't it? These things are not as simple as we thought, are they?" "Yes, I suppose so," he replied. Zeke realized it was Deus's voice. He looked down and saw Deus Alex and a pile of sword shields and various weapons. Deus looked up and greeted him. "You're awake," Deus said as Zeke hesitantly raised his injured arm. "But how did my body—" Before he could finish, Deus continued. "Let's talk about that later. What about the dragon and the child?" Zeke felt a surge of curiosity. Deus smiled warmly. "Both the dragon and the child are taken care of, so you don't need to worry. If you're rested, come down and clean up this mess. We still have to open the store, don't we?" Deus said, not sounding very enthusiastic. Zeke's face lit up with a happy smile as he heard Deus's words, and all his worries disappeared at the sight of Deus's face. "Yes, Master," Zeke replied loudly. From that day on, they continued to receive missions from the divine dragon. Zeke stood on the familiar carriage. The surrounding villagers panicked, shouting and running away. "Save me." Zeke raised his hand, signaling to Abandoned to attack. Upon receiving the order, Abandoned prepared to strike, calling out to Deus. "I'm ready," he said. Alex descended from the sky through a purple magical circle, landing on the dragon. Alex struck the dragon with a merciless beam of light. Whenever they successfully killed a dragon, someone would come to take it away, but it was unclear how they did it. Zeke's voice echoed up from below. Deus, wearing blue pajamas, stood at the window looking down while picking his nose. A sword appeared. He looked at the pile of weapons. Zeke was happily carrying a large pile of weapons, while Alex smiled gently, watching the scene like a mother hen. "Every morning a mountain of weapons appears in front of our house," Deus said, giving a thumbs up. And so they continued their journey. A dragon colorful like a peacock appeared before Zeke. By now Zeke was accustomed to such occurrences. He took his position and shouted, "Alex!" Alex jumped into action upon hearing the call. A single strike silenced the dragon. Deus, as usual, was indifferent and fell asleep. Once again, a pile of weapons appeared, and the carriage continued on its way, sometimes changing its route. Alex and Deus were like two professional gangsters wearing sunglasses and unleashing a flashbang, and everything continued as usual. The carriage sped along the road. Deus slept soundly, unaffected by the events around him. Weapons continued to appear in front of their house. The next day, Zeke continued to sell noodles to the surrounding villagers daily. Seeing Alex and Deus eating happily made Zeke extremely happy. A familiar scene appeared as they ate noodles. Deus saw a piece of paper fall into his bowl of noodles. The paper read that Tsunari Castle had just appeared, and the divine dragon had signed his name. With noodles still in his mouth, Deus stood up ready to go as Zeke prepared to follow. They got into the carriage. Upon arrival, they found a dragon that looked like a skeleton. Deus was as usual asleep. Zeke was now more accustomed to these situations. But as soon as Deus opened his eyes and gave the order to attack, Zeke would charge forward. They fought against a blue dragon. Not just that, but they also encountered another dragon. It was like a fish. There was even a fire dragon. Zeke had become extremely familiar with the Demon King's slash technique. A green dragon was the next to be dealt with. The journey continued with a blue dragon. Next was a gray one. After each battle, Zeke received numerous weapons. His legs still bandaged, Zeke stepped out of the battlefield. Blood covered his body, and behind him lay a defeated dragon. Zeke turned towards the source of the voice. It was the villagers cheering and thanking the Dragon Slayer. "The Dragon Slayer has saved our village," they exclaimed. "Wow, you're so cool, Mr. Dragon Slayer!" Someone shouted. "Hey, Mr. Dragon Slayer, look this way!" Deus appeared before Zeke, praising him. "Well done, abandoned." Zeke high-fived Deus, grinning. Good news spread quickly. Very soon they became the most famous team in the region. Alex, Zeke, and Deus looked in the same direction, wondering if they had finally finished. "Yes, this is it," Alex replied softly, introducing the first branch of the demon's weapons store. A beautifully decorated house appeared, lit up brightly. And so the store opened for business. A grand and magnificent interior was revealed, filled with thousands of high-quality weapons on display. Zeke's eyes widened in awe. "Wow, this place is so luxurious." Deus. He was so excited that he started dancing around. He put his hands in his pockets and turned to Alex, praising, "We didn't expect the inside to be like this. You must have put in a lot of effort." Alex smiled proudly. "There's no other weapon shop around here that can compare to this place. Not even the big guilds," Deus replied nonchalantly. "Well, it doesn't matter. You guys will be the ones managing this shop anyway." Alex and Zeke looked at each other nervously and asked, "Us, what about you, Master?" Deus leaned back, clasping his hands behind his head, and said, "This arrangement is quite reasonable, isn't it? Have you guys ever seen a shop owner work like this?" Alex gritted his teeth behind Deus's back and whispered to Zeke, "Did you hear what our master just said?" "It doesn't make any sense." Zeke nodded in agreement. "Yes, I did." Suddenly, a purple hand quietly reached out from behind and put its arms around Alex and Zeke's shoulders, making them freeze. Then Deus's ghostly voice whispered, "Come closer. I'll tell you a secret. I just want to sit back and count my money, not manage this kind of shop. If you're still unsure, let me make it clear you guys are the ones who are excited to manage this shop, not me." Right? Alex and Zeke were intimidated, resigned to their fate, and replied, "Yes, we understand." Deus concluded, "All right, that settles it. You guys should work hard and develop this shop." Alex and Zeke responded in unison, "Yes, Master."